Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru back again for UFC 276. Israel Adesanya defending his middleweight championship versus Jared Cannonier, as well as the trilogy between featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski defending his title once again against Max Blessed Holloway. Oh my God, this whole card stacked top to bottom, possibly pay-per-view of the year. But before we can get into that, we have a family member in the building. Uncle to everybody. And it's not Snoop Dogg. It's Uncle Weezy at MMA Weezy. Buddy, thanks so much for being here. It means so much to us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me here. I had so much fun the last time I was on and saw my guys from the MMA Engine have a lot of fun with you guys last week. So, I'm ready to chop this one up. I've already done a countless amount of hours already on this card between Stat Diggers on Sunday, the Die Hard MMA podcast on Monday, and then just the tip last night, and then a couple other shows in between. But
Wow.
You don't even get sick talking about this card. You could do 14 shows and still bring
You
the fire
basically
because
do 14 shows.
yeah, I mean, I know I've done it before, man, but this card is fire, though. This card is absolute fire, and people might even shit on the Rose Clark Stoliarenko fight. That's going to be a fun fight. Macy Barber against Jessica Ai. Both those girls come forward. They're both scrappers. There's no quitting either one of those ladies. And then it just gets better from there.
Here we go, evil. Here we go.
Clint was talking about that on Monday, man. I had to go watch that. I was like, dear God, was that awful?
Oh God, bless her heart, man. Like it's the person that gets up at the talent show to sing and can't sing. Like you just at some point you have to respect the moxie, like the confidence, like
the commitment,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. And listen, I know we've fallen on a few hard times here in the gambling realm, a few decisions going the wrong way, but just like our old friend Evil, we're persevering, guys. We're back at it. So, here we go.
Yeah, even though nobody asked for it, we're persevering anyway.
Nah, man, but listen, having Uncle Weezy in the house, it's got me feeling good. I know he's bringing his sharpest game to the show today, and I'm going to
run anything in.
And to let you know, Guru, how ready I am and how on my game I am, I'm bringing up the stats myself without you asking for it. Look at that. So here we go, guys. I mean, we're starting right off with the main event. We're going top to bottom because there's no time to waste into breaking down this card. I mean, the main event, let's be honest, I've got as much bias as there is. Izzy Adesanya is the guy that brought me into this game. Anderson Silva is always someone that I was excited to watch fight, but the time I really fell in love was around the time that him and Silva and Adesanya had that main event, and that just kind of like tuned me in. It was like the passing of the torch of that kind of style, and I'll straight up admit it. So seeing the line, you got Izzy Adesanya right now at minus 435 on DraftKings and Jared Cannonier at plus 350. I'm not saying there's a ton of value or anything on Adesanya, but it's like, I mean, that's the play, at least for me. So it's about finding like kind of what props you're most interested in, at least from my perspective. I mean, Guru, what are you seeing it that way, or you think there's some value on the dog here?
Where the line has continued to blow up to as we've watched heavy favorite after heavy favorite as your last fighter not cash. Certainly has us bettors, every weekly bettors, weary, as I think it should, because Jared is no slouch by any stretch of the imagination. Dude's an absolute beast. He has unbelievable self-confidence in himself, has propelled himself to this spot. Let's be frank, we bet Derek Brunson fairly heavily and talked. We broke down that show really in depth with, I forgot our guest, but shout out our guest for that week. We super in depth, and they were on the other side, and we pushed hard, man. And we liked Brunson, but it was obvious that Brunson was not the right pick because he couldn't get the takedown where we overlooked that, and the physicality of Jared Cannonier and the power on his punches and the way he picked him apart in that second round. Brunson was out on his feet 30, 40 seconds into that round. After that first stuffed takedown on the break, he hit him with a clean left hook or something, and Brunson was never the same after that. One of the most vicious but forgotten about stoppages you could remember in history.
That was the little backhand, the little bop.
Dude, he hits him with the back elbow, back fist. He's coming with the elbows. I mean, he's asleep already. Then he's dead after the first one, and he hits him with another two.
Yeah,
like,
the corner's thrown in the towel. You don't see that often.
It was in MMA for sure. It was absolutely vicious. He came off a performance after that, or before that, beating Kelvin Gastelum by decision, right? At least taking 3 of those rounds. I thought maybe at least 3 or 4. Probably, I think it was 3. Kelvin had a really good fight that fight as well. But Jared showed what he needed to do, man. At the end of the day, Izzy's, like, you see it on this page here. Izzy being 6 years younger, having a 5-inch reach advantage, and a 3.5-inch, 2.5-inch height advantage, like, it just plays a little too well into what Izzy wants to do. I expect him to be quicker. I expect him to be flashier. I expect him to be on point. I don't think he's going to give Jared an inch. So, where Jared is going to have success is kind of controlling the range and maybe reeling Izzy in. Like, to think that at 0.23 takedowns he's going to somehow implement some sort of wrestling game, I think that would be ridiculous. So, Izzy probably by, what did we talk about? I mean, just based on value, like Jared decision or Izzy KO. But, like, you know what I mean? That's really it. Otherwise, Izzy probably wins a decision because that's what he's been doing lately. But we need to get to Uncle Weezy. One of the things that we kind of forget, though, is just the way how violently he finished Paulo Costa. And just like,
I was gonna say,
like, just
I
that
did have
kind
a little
of
comment.
that kind of finish. And I feel like Paulo and Jared Cannonier are that kind of entity in terms of the UFC, like, where the fans kind of look at them, oh, this is the guy that's gonna do it, and it's really, there's just levels to this shit. So please, without further ado, we need to hear some Uncle Weezy.
Yeah, so this one, the line is a little bit blown out for me. I don't get in the habit of laying minus 450 very often. I mean, you got to be, I think at that point, somewhere around 82%. That's an implied probability of 82%. So it's very difficult to make money there, because then the props are juiced up, to where you're almost paying juice to get inside the distance or by decision here. But the stats that are of note here is, Izzy's 6 years younger, 5 inches taller, 3-inch reach advantage, got a little bit of an experience advantage at the UFC and pro level. He gets knockouts when he finishes fights, and Jared Cannonier has been finished by knockout twice in 5 losses. And Cannonier's a knockout artist as well, but Israel Adesanya's never been knocked out. He's never been knocked down in 12 UFC fights and 211 minutes of cage time, fighting some of the best competition that the middleweight division has to offer. And, this guy doesn't even shoot for takedowns, so he's very good at keeping fights on the feet. He gets controlled, less than 1/6 of his cage time, despite the fact that he's faced 81 takedown attempts in only 12 fights. And then you look at his strength of schedule, and the guy's fought the best guys that there is to fight. He's literally got an advantage everywhere. It's really hard to see Cannonier finding a way to win this fight. That reach advantage that Adesanya has is significant, because we're in the big cage. He moves so well, and he's not a guy that takes unnecessary chances. He's only got a 36% finish rate at the UFC level, so I'm thinking Adesanya by decision is probably how I'm playing this. Cannonier is pretty tough, but Adesanya doesn't take a lot of risks anymore, and he's been very risk averse, especially in these last 3 fights and in that Romero fight as well. And we know the Paulo Costa story coming out. I guess he had too much wine the night before. I mean, the guy's drinking red wine the night before a fight, goes out there,
I couldn't sleep.
Hungover. I mean, it's not like a dumbass excuse, but
it's his secret juice.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I'm going with Adesanya, but to find a way to make money off this fight, it's just difficult because the line is so blown out. The implied probability of the win for Adesanya is so high. There's very little room for error. But even with that said, I probably wouldn't hate throwing that money line in a parlay because it looks like this should be Adesanya all day.
So I had a little bit of an idea with that, actually. I was playing around before, looking at a few plays. So I will actually touch on the parlay aspect if you were looking for one more leg that's going to work out. We will get onto that. So that's one good idea. And then also talking about what Weezy was talking about with those knockout losses. You see there, Cannonier's been knocked down 5 times in the UFC, let alone all the times you've seen him on skates looking like Bambi, like against Robert Whittaker. I don't think was recorded as a knockdown necessarily, but listen, if that happens at the end of round 3 against Adesanya, I don't think he's going to be offensively wrestling like Whittaker was to kind of try to get a finish. Izzy's very proficient with the ground and pound. And as Guru was saying before, I don't know if he's going to, give, Jared Cannonier an inch. Well, look at how many inches he gave to Paulo Costa. So, yeah.
Was that a wiener joke? Oh my goodness.
I think so.
Wow.
Yes. Anyways, very
just the tip. Was it just the tip?
No, I think
not. That was balls deep, my friends.
There it
that
is.
was the balls deep breakdown.
Yeah.
So hell yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed to Uncle Weezy.
And not for nothing, just to your point about Whittaker, like if you guys forgot, like Whittaker beat the piss out of Jared Cannonier.
Yeah, and I mean, like you don't remember those with the head kicks to finish the combinations. Guess who also likes doing that? So Adesanya, I kind of lost the value as I sat there last Saturday talking with Guru about knockout at plus 230 having value. Now at FanDuel, it's plus 170. Missed out. Yeah. So that's kind of like my quote unquote value play on this fight is that, I just think that Adesanya at some point here is going to find the knockout because Cannonier is eminently touchable. He's a little bit slower coming down from the heavier weight classes to middleweight. So you see, like his striking numbers are actually pretty solid. His defense is actually even better from distance than Adesanya. But we talked about that level of competition. And overall, the output, I mean, Adesanya is outpacing his opponents by a strike per minute at distance, whereas Cannonier is giving up 2.5 strikes per minute at distance to his opponents. So even if this does go to decision, once again, it's Adesanya all day. I just think that all those things add up to Cannonier walking into something at some point. Plus 170.
Yeah, we definitely missed that at plus 230. And then if you checked our Bet MMA, it's super sketchy, but I was scouting the lines early and FanDuel had dropped the double chance KO or decision on Izzy. And at the time, Izzy's money line was like minus 340. But so for whatever reason, the KO or decision was like, I think, what did we get it at? Minus 230?
Minus 230, yes, as part of
which is just like
way off, dude.
Yeah, it was because it should have been. And again, of course, they changed it the next day.
Prince?
They made it. What up, Prince? They literally made it the same as the money line the next day because, of course, it is he's not getting a sub. So I was super adamant about TB that we had to play that at that moment. So sorry for everybody it's a pretty big jump in line movement, but.
But hey, that's why you got to follow the Bet MMA. You would have been sitting there last weekend on Saturday watching the fights, and you would have seen us put up a little play there the Izzy by knockout or decision. And hey, look, we're on to our next fight where we're going to find our second leg. So
that parlay, yep.
Yeah, we got Alex Volkanovski versus Max Holloway. We got the trilogy. There's a lot of dialogue about what happened in the last fight. I'm going to skip over that myself because it's just there's so much to talk about in this upcoming matchup. I think that from what we've seen, at least from the body type of Alex Volkanovski from his last fight up until now, from that second Holloway fight, and then you see him against Korean Zombie, Chen Sung-jung, I mean, the dude is getting significantly ripped and jacked for the 145 division. It seems like he knows he's destined to make a move up at some point because these weight cuts seem to be like, a pretty decent process at this point. I mean, Volkanovski, he was always big coming down in weight, but you could really see him filled out athletically, and it shows out in his explosion and his athleticism. He looks quicker, he looks faster, and he's in his athletic prime. Max Holloway, you could say the same thing at 30 years old. He is 3 years younger than Alex Volkanovski, but he's got 15 more UFC fights. I just think the fresher guy at this point is going to be Volkanovski. I've said it to Guru 5,000 times. He yelled at me in the last fight. He was like, how many times are you going to tell me that Max Holloway's taller? but Volkanovski has the longer reach. You know, it's like, all right. So like, yeah, we get it at this point. So we've seen it all before. And what adjustments is Max Holloway going to make? But you're facing one of the guys that makes the best in-fight adjustments in the world in Volkanovski. Yeah. We saw it last time, and we probably see it this time. So the question is the fight going to play out differently than the prior? Are we going to see a little something different? Is there going to be a finish? Are we going to see a Holloway decision win? Is there some way that this fight is going to be different, or do we see a third Volkanovski decision? With the line Volkanovski at -190. I just don't think that that's playable, even though I definitely still lean to the Volkanovski side overall. So, I mean, at the end of the day,
he's up to -215 on FanDuel.
Yeah. So, I mean, it depends on where you're looking. You got either DraftKings or FanDuel or the ones that we're normally looking at. So you got to try to find the best value. And realistically, at the end of the day, I think that the best value might be on, Volkanovski finding a knockout this time at +350. That would be, you see him really getting to Holloway as the fight goes on in fights past. He really starts building on his volume. In the first fight, he breaks his hand in the third round, so it kind of peters off. But he's a builder, and I just think Holloway's had a lot of volume at this point, and he tends, with a guy like Volkanovski, he's faced Holloway how many times, and look at how good his stats are. It's like the guys that we've seen Holloway face otherwise, he just dominates their career statistics from there forward. But see, Volkanovski's got he's got 50 minutes in the cage with Holloway, and he's still got some of the best statistics we've ever seen in any division. So, Guru, I mean, take it away from here, man.
Yeah, you make a lot of interesting points. By the way, your KO prop on FanDuel is +380.
Well, thank you. See, this is what the Guru's always got the FanDuel hits for me, because he knows that I always find the worst value on props on DraftKings, but I like their layout, because you could just click winning method and look at all the fights laid out, and you could just scroll through. Whereas FanDuel, you have to click in individually to each fight to look at their lines. That's one thing that I hate. I hate it. But Guru does the dirty work for me.
Do you guys see what I'm doing over here? I'm playing my world's smallest violin for TB because he doesn't like the layout of DraftKings. I'm very sorry for you.
I'm very sad.
Anyway, so you make a lot of very interesting points. One of which was one of the ones that I had pointed out to you watching the fights was that at least I was rewatching the second Max Holloway and Volkanovski fight, and I'm like, man, like Alex was a lot sharper versus Brian Ortega and versus Korean Zombie, and maybe it was just because he's fighting Max or whatever, or maybe because he was in Abu Dhabi, or maybe it's a training camp, so he just seemed sharper, more physically fit, like TB was saying. So all those things stand out to me. One thing that does interest me, and I like how active Volkanovski's been. He's been Usman and Adesanya in terms of just serially defending your belt and staying active, and once every 3-4 months you're putting on a pay-per-view for us and you're winning. Like, he's just kind of put himself there, and he might be, the one that sticks around the longest. Like, it will be very interesting to see what Volkanovski is continued able to accomplish. Each time they've fought, we've talked about how important the legacy for each fighter is, and it's so funny as we come into this third one, it's even more important now, because of course it is, because what happens now if Max wins, you're getting the fourth, so you're gonna have 2 quadrilogies for the first time ever in the same year in the UFC, which is fucking nuts. So Volk didn't have to take this fight though either. Like, I mean, probably. I mean, maybe he did, but I just feel like he's beat him twice. Like, what do you really have to prove here? How many times do you have to beat somebody? I guess it's 3 times. With all that being said, the value I see, again, maybe I'm just bitten by the dog after watching all these close decisions go other directions, but Max Holloway by decision at +310 doesn't even equate in my brain. Again, do I think he's winning the fight? Probably not. Like, but that's all narrative. That's all all that bullshit I just fed 5 minutes ago. That's that. The truth is that we've seen 2 close fights. So why is this guy by decision, which is his absolutely most likely way to win, because he doesn't finish anybody, and Volkanovski doesn't get finished, let alone fucking lose. So yeah, I mean, max by decision at plus 310 is value to me. Otherwise, I kind of like our little parlay that we got going, which was, from earlier in the week. What do you think, Weezy?
Yeah, this is the way I looked at this fight was, let's say this fight goes just like fight 1 or just like fight 2 or somewhere in between there, where it's mostly on the feet. Volkanovski maybe edging him out in each round by just a little bit. How would you feel going into that decision holding a minus 205 Alexander Volkanovski ticket?
Well, I'll tell you, because I was holding the minus 200 Volkanovski ticket the last time. And yeah, no, I did not feel great. I also wasn't as scarred as I was now. I'm much more scarred from losing more money.
It's getting ridiculous. And that's what I want to, everybody to keep in their minds is that, like, this fight right now is like the best line you're getting for fight doesn't go, sitting around minus 200. So this fight's going to the judges about 7 out of 10 times is what Vegas thinks, right? 7 out of 10 times. I mean, how many out of 10 times is Sal D'Amato just like, sticking it in you? More than 7?
Right.
Without really
Definitely.
kind of,
that's like minus 400 on those.
Yeah,
odds.
I mean, right? I mean, it's like an 80% implied probability, which is more than 7 out of 10. You don't have to have a statistics degree from the Harvard of the Midwest like your Uncle Weezy does, in order to make that calculation, right? But without over analyzing striking and their stances and who throws more and any of the other shit that you're going to hear people talking about this week, just think about how judging has been lately. Think about how the first 2 fights have already went. Think about how crazy fucking durable both of these guys are. Maybe just make fight doesn't go to decision or fight goes to decision a parlay piece this week, because Max Holloway is one of the most durable men on planet Earth. You want to hear a fantastic stat? Max Holloway has absorbed 1,811 significant strikes at the UFC level and has never been knocked out, and he's never been knocked down.
Yep. Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, that's amazing, dude. 25 fucking fights. Not one dude has hit this dude hard enough to knock him off his feet yet. Not Conor McGregor, not Alexander Volkanovski when they shared the cage for almost an hour of their lives. Not any of the other studs that he's fought has knocked him down, much less out. And then you got a guy like Volkanovski who grew gills when he was in a triangle and in a guillotine from one of the best triangle/guillotine practitioners in the history of the featherweight division, Brian Ortega. This fight probably goes to decision. You could probably make that a parlay piece and feel pretty safe about it this week, even though it's a 5-round fight. And you're giving up some juice based on how these things do finish on the aggregate. Still, it's Volkanovski Holloway. This is going the full 5. And I do think Volkanovski wins here. I do think that there's a lot of narrative things swirling around Holloway. I need to see Holloway on the scale before I make any kind of official prediction about this fight, because, Volkanovski might finish him. If he comes in there looking like absolute trash on the scales, 25 minutes with Volkanovski, after a bad weight cut is going to be difficult for even as somebody as durable as Max Holloway. So I think the best bet for this fight is fight goes to decision, as long as Holloway and Volkanovski both make weight and look pretty good doing it. But other than that, I think Volkanovski wins this fight. I bet him to win by decision. But am I laying minus 210 on the money line the way these decisions have been coming back lately, especially in the main events, where it seems like no matter who wins in the main event, Vegas is doing great.
Yep.
Whether it's the favorite, whether it's the underdog, man, whoever the street has, the judges have the opposite if it winds up being close. And this one's been close twice. So unless it's significantly different this time in the trilogy, I got to think it's going to be Volkanovski by decision, but I'm not laying the juice.
No, that
Yeah.
makes sense. And man, it makes us it certainly makes me feel really good about our parlay for this week because as we said, it was Israel Adesanya KO decision. We had that at -230, and we parlayed that with this fight to start round 4. So all we need is to get to championship rounds. And we laid what was that, TB?
It was 6 units at -134, and
I love it.
that's on the parlay altogether. I don't remember the specific line. It might have been a -3 something, but it's up on our Bet MMA if you were following. Once again, sitting there last Saturday if you were already down on a few fights, trying to look
Like
ahead
we
to
were.
next week.
Like we
Exactly.
were.
So there we were making a little play here, and you know what? It just the more you look into it, and even if Holloway doesn't look great on the scale, I think he's got that initial chin. I think we're going to start with a lot of respect, a lot of leg kicks, the same way we have been. And even Volkanovski gets into that wrestling, into that takedown offense, it's going to take a while to wear into what Holloway's got going on. He's got such great defense all around for them, and survivability. But hey, guys, I mean, live chat's popping off. We appreciate it.
Yes,
Make sure you
thanks so
subscribe
much.
to the channel. Make sure you throw a like on this video. Make sure you guys are following, Uncle Weezy at MMA Weezy on Twitter. Follow him up on YouTube. You make sure you're subscribed to his channel. If you're somehow watching this right now and you guys haven't already subscribed to Uncle Weezy's channel, you're obviously doing stuff backwards. So, but Guru, you had a final point here before we got moving along.
Yeah, you can move along as I say it. It's just
Okay.
I remember like sketchily, having one of my ideas about the Welly Zhang Joanna fight, and I'm like, everybody thinks it's going the distance. I'm like, but man, like there's just something that feels different this time. And I get worried that maybe this could be that kind of situation too, where maybe, just maybe, something happens differently this time. But these guys are ironclad, and with Joanna retiring right after it, it made me think she at least had 1.5 feet out the door. You know what I mean? Like that. She
might have, but God damn, did Weili do a great job of pushing her ass towards that door right quick, man. She put on a fucking killer. I had the fight goes to decision in that on that bet, and I had it in a parlay. And about 2 minutes into that fight, I was like, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Weili was just whooping her ass. And I was like, oh shit, man. She is fucking pissed off today. And yeah, that ended violently.
Same way, and TB was awesome. Like he was like, oh, she's gonna use the wrestling, and like, yeah, I mean, sure. Like that was good. That was but like too bad she was killing her on the feet.
And then she ground and pounded the shit out of her also.
Strickland. Dude, what are you doing here, PC Strickland? You need to be in Las Vegas. You need to be taking care of Sean. He needs you in his ear, bro. You got to make sure he does well at the pay-per-view, bro. Like, I mean, at the press conference, because he's literally nervous if you guys see him on Twitter today. That was was it Instagram? I think it was Instagram because he doesn't have a Twitter.
Well, see, he got booted off Insta. He went to Twitter. Then he got booted off Twitter. Went back to Insta. And at the not press conference, but media day today. I mean, this guy, you just got to watch it back. It is. So, hey, PC, thanks for stopping by, man. Friend of the show, Strickland checking in. And perfect timing because here we are with Sean Strickland versus Alex Pereira. This fight, man. I mean, this is the matchup that we need to see because honestly, Pereira's welcome to the UFC up to this point. It's been kind of cushy. Even though in his last fight it was a little dangerous, his opponent, it was still a punching bag. Someone that was going to walk forward, let him kind of dictate his game plan, and was not a good enough wrestler, or even just like everything will be safe and sound. He's in good hands. We love it. We love it. Strickland got him all hooked up. But so ultimately it's like, this is a huge step up here for Pereira because Strickland, I mean, he's got 15 UFC fights. Pereira doesn't even have 6 total MMA fights. We're seeing a guy okay, so this is his 7th fight. He's got 6 guys. Congratulations. All right. So I'm sorry. All right. I apologize.
You tried to be slick and look what you did.
Look at what we did.
Look what you did.
Ultimately, Sean Strickland, from what we've seen since his move up to 185, he's just faster than his opposition. His striking defense is the elitist of the elite. Yeah. It doesn't get any better. Mm-hmm. And in addition, he's not afraid of anybody. I mean, this guy spars Magomed Ankalaev on the regular, saying that this guy's going to be the champion of light heavyweight, which I don't necessarily disagree with. And to get those reps. And then the next day he's got Dom Reyes in there with him, welcoming him down to Extreme Couture. I mean, this guy's used to fighting gigantic, light heavyweights. So, Alex Pereira at 185, okay, yeah, as he said 5,000 times at his media day, it's like, yeah, he's a giant fucking Brazilian, but it's like, listen, Strickland's 3 years younger. He's going to be the quicker guy here. And you saw Pereira kind of working that like spinning hook kick on his Insta the other day. It's like, yeah, we all saw what Dos Santos did to Strickland, but he was also a 170er who was smaller than Strickland, faster than Strickland. And guess what? Now Strickland's seen it before. And Pereira, you look mad slow while you were doing that. So it's like, I don't think, he's going to pull off the spinning hook kick KO, but, Pereira tends to throw these one punch, walking forward or waiting to counter. Wants guys to come in. He is a great kickboxer. He can kick to all levels. He's got snapping kicks. He's got power. He could totally get a knockout. I mean, that's not out of the question. But at the end of the day here, I mean, we're talking about a guy that's got all the experience. And if this fight hits the mat, I don't think it lasts too long. And guess what? We saw Andreas Michailidis land some takedowns. And we saw even Silva get in there and get a little action going against Pereira. He's let 4 takedowns out of 15 faced so far, but that's against probably the lowest offensive wrestling competition you could possibly face so far. And I know Strickland says, I can stand with this guy, I can bang, whatever. Of course he's going to say that. He can. And of course he can. But also, if he gets hurt, he does have a little something in the back pocket. And once again, at his media day, he goes, I'm going to stand, I'm going to bang with him, I can bang with him. But yeah, if he hurts me, I'm going to wrestle. I'm going to take the coward's way out. I needed to hear that. That's great. Fantastic. Guru, take it away, man, because we're looking at the line here. Ooh, baby.
Yeah, listen, how could I follow up any sort of technical breakdown or something after something as eloquent as that? We see where you're leading us. And let me bake a little narrative pie before we hand it to Weezy real quick. All I've heard and all I continue to hear is money on Pereira, money on Pereira, money on Pereira, money on Pereira. Bet Pereira. That's what I hear. That's all I hear everybody saying. Yet, you look at the line, and you've now watched Sean Strickland go from plus 102, plus 105 to even money everywhere. You've now seen even money everywhere. So all the money pouring in, but why is the line pulling back to even? And then I got to go another step further. Because I don't like I just said earlier that we don't take victory laps, like that's not us. But if we were going to take back to one of our very small victories on this show, it's that a lot of people we respect a lot were all over Bruno Silva. 2 units, 3 units, 5 units, he's going to win. He's going to win in the distance. We were on Pereira, and we were on Pereira big. Because we didn't think that Bruno would use the wrestling, and we thought strike for strike that Pereira would have the advantage, and he was going to be bigger. And it was, kind of a sloppy fight, but he got it done. So now all of a sudden, those same people, I feel like, are trying to get their money back. And I've been guilty of it a million times. I lost money on Conor McGregor twice. So now when Dustin Poirier fights fucking whatever, I bet on Poirier and against Charles, and I bet on it's not the right you know what I mean? So I feel like these people are now on Pereira here because they see a close line and it's going to be a kickboxing fight and he's a professional kickboxer. He's going to knock him out. Well, I think it's a little bit more complicated. So that's my crazy rant. Maybe I'm a little tinfoil though. What do you think, Weezy?
So without getting into the massive experience advantage that Strickland has, the massive grappling advantage that he has, the massive strength of schedule advantage that he has, the fact that this dude is sparring with literally everybody on a daily basis, that this walking into the cage is just another day for Sean Strickland here. Look, I've got Strickland down as Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week.
Baby.
This is, and it's a play. It was a plus money play when I made it because I said, look, this is a mixed martial arts fight, and Pereira is a specialist kickboxer, but I want to be very clear on this. So I don't watch kickboxing. Okay, so I know that Pereira knocked out Adesanya. I know that they've fought twice and Pereira beat him both times. I know Pereira's sleeping dudes in kickboxing rings, and he's got, an amazing left hook. I don't think Thomas Powell has woken up yet from that left hook that he took in LFA just before Pereira got his call up to the UFC. I know how dangerous, that Alex Pereira is. I know that left hook is absolutely sick. I know that people say he's the best kickboxer on planet Earth. But then I watched him lose round 1 decisively to Andreas Mihalidis, a guy with 1 round of gas. And then I watched him in the next fight against Bruno Silva, and I saw him get taken down by a guy who had literally 0 takedown attempts at the UFC level, a guy who was fighting in Russia against Russians who wrestle well and doing everything he could to keep the fight on the feet. And then I also saw something else that I did not expect to see when I watched that fight back. And that was Bruno Silva winning minutes on the feet. How the fuck did that happen? If this guy's the best kickboxer on planet Earth, why wasn't Bruno Silva sleeping 3 minutes into that fight? Why was Bruno Silva landing big bombs and dodging counters? And it just, I don't think this guy's any good. I understand that kickboxing fans are going to be like, Uncle Weezy, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This guy is the best kickboxer on planet Earth. This is mixed martial arts. To me, he hasn't looked great yet. And I know that the UFC is trying to set up the Pereira, Adesanya rematch. They're on the same card for that very reason. They're trying to get Pereira a quick road to Adesanya. And in order to do that, you have to give him a Greek guy with 1 round of cardio. You have to give him a Brazilian guy with very little of a ground game and, frankly, an average, striking game as well. And then you got to give him a psychopath who hasn't wrestled for years, and will be stupid enough to stand with this guy. But I don't think Sean Strickland's going to be that stupid. I think that he's very well-rounded. I think his ability to be able to wrestle here makes all the difference in the world. And I don't think Alex Pereira is that good. Is there a certain possibility that Strickland's going to wake up looking at the lights wondering what the fuck happened? Absolutely. I'm not saying this guy doesn't hit like a truck, but, I don't get in the habit of betting on dudes with a puncher's chance, when they're at an experience disadvantage, a strength of schedule disadvantage, a grappling disadvantage. And then when you're telling me he's going to knock out Sean Strickland, and I go and I look at the 185-pound data for Sean Strickland, and I see that this guy's got a 69% striking defense. And when I watch him on tape, his footwork is fantastic. His ability to be able to use his feet to make his defense whole by moving his feet and his head, by walking forward when he's not being defensive. Look, this guy is very good on the feet. I don't think it's a stretch to say that he could win minutes on the feet against Alex Pereira, and that even if this fight does go to decision, Strickland only needs to get maybe 2 takedowns. That's it. I mean, Mihalidis was winning, and that's a guy who has no gas tank. He was tired 3 minutes into that fight, and he still was able to, win that first round decisively. I mean, Sean Strickland's not going to run out of gas after 5 minutes, you guys. I promise you that, even if he wrestles. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, man, I'm all in on Sean Strickland, dude. He's my ass shaving of the week. I think that he's going to show everybody who the complete mixed martial artist is here, and I think he's going to fuck up the UFC's plans to get that Pereira Adesanya rematch, which they're setting up at this very event.
You're so right about that. It's just, man, he's so good. He's so good defensively. Like it really is a problem. I think they fast tracked Pereira too fast, and I guess by the definition of fast track. And
yeah,
and I'm not sure how well this is gonna go. I loved hearing, like TV pointed out, that he's gonna be willing to wrestle, and that's what I wanted. Hello, let's talk bets.
to me, baby.
So,
Let's go.
so there's all right. So why, if Strickland is who we think is going to win, and his most likely path to victory is decision, how is him by decision plus 280? Like, that's fairly high. And then I'm sure we could even think about our kind of play. I haven't even checked that on DraftKings TB, but the Chronic Combat Special we haven't used in a while.
Ooh,
How
baby.
about Sean Strickland in over one and Sean Strickland in over 1.5.
Oh my God, talk to me,
I don't
Guru.
know. Talk to me. Pull up the line. What
All right, let's go. So yeah, your boys out here on DraftKings. So we're heading to the fight parlays. Follow us down.
Pull that up because my other thought is Sean
plus
Strickland
140.
So there you go. I probably like that better because Sean Strickland KO or decision is plus 120. So I almost kind of would take that 20 cents. For time instead.
Because when we head on down to Crazy Town, we've got our greasy submission prop of the week.
What?
We've got Sean Strickland by submission plus 1,100 on FanDuel. I did the research ahead of time.
That's not right, is it?
It's plus 1,000 on DraftKings if you want to take less value. So I just looked at both. Let's hit it. Let's go.
Dude, Pereira's only loss is by submission. Do you know who he lost by submission to?
Talk to me.
No.
Somebody named QL Atoni. I shit you not. Like, it was some fat dude. He got him in the 3rd round.
Jungle Fight 82.
Atoni stood with this guy. These people, I understand that Pereira's an amazing kickboxer. I watch UFC tape. I watch mixed martial arts tape. This guy, I know I could be absolutely eating my words, but
the dude is still fighting.
He's any good.
Kwame Atano is still fighting.
What's his record?
He's currently 12-3. He's
on
on a 5-fight winning streak. One in LFA, had a decision win in LFA against Junior Marquez. I don't know the name sounds familiar. His last win was in May. Go figure. But no, I don't know how good he is. That's actually really funny. But plus 1,100 is super interesting. I don't know.
Shout out Daz 1,200. Look at you.
1,200.
That's crazy. I'm betting that like right now.
What do you put on that?
I just threw a 10
unit on that. I think
a quarter unit.
Yeah. I'm putting a quarter unit on that. That's just stupid, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sean Strickland's, a brown belt, and he's a very good submission grappler. As a matter of fact, if you go back and you watch the Uriah Hall Strickland fight, Bisping, who's calling that fight, is talking about how he grappled with Sean Strickland and how tricky he is and how good he is on the ground. And that was, a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Wow. All right. Hey.
Wow.
So I think we all came together on that one. That was a beautiful thing, but unfortunately, all great things must come to an end.
That ain't no made up name. Hang on, where is it?
But yeah, I mean, we hit Strickland 2 units on plus 100. Oh wow, Qumel. Wow, Qmel.
Yep.
Qmel. All right,
it's a wild ass name, man.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, hey, listen. Once again, if you guys were following us on Bet MMA last Saturday, there we are looking ahead. And we get Sean Strickland at plus 100. So we're laying out the 2 units ahead of time. It might have even been a better price. I got to go take a look, but we got to get rolling along here to our next fight, huh?
God, I really fucking hope like next tough season 31, he's like on the show, or like we somehow see him get to the UFC. He's only 29. Like I really like he could do it.
Hey, yeah, I mean
he'll be like a short notice replacement this summer on Dana White Contender Series. Like anything, that'd be fucking incredible.
He might be, man. He might be with a record like 12-3 and a win over Alex Pereira, dude. This guy's gonna have a lot of steam under him right now.
That's
true.
Shit.
But
wow, that's a lot of red.
Yeah, so here we go, guys. We made it to the red station. We got Pedro Munoz versus Sean O'Malley. If this fight takes place at distance and Munoz can't get into boxing range, and I mean, I'll give you a little hint. He's given up 8 inches of reach and 5 inches of height. It's going to be really tough for the slower guy in Munoz to be able to get into boxing range against Sean O'Malley. Yeah, I just ultimately, you got the 8 years younger Sean O'Malley. We're buying Q Meal stock. We're
Shout
all
out
over
predict
it.
Stock. Predict strike.
Yeah, prediction strike. Get on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get some of that. Yeah, but listen, Sean O'Malley, it just comes down to, I mean, Pedro Munoz, no matter who he faces, he's generally eating more strikes than he lands. His opponents are outpacing him by almost 3 strikes more per minute than he lands. And he's facing a guy on O'Malley who outpaces his opponents by 3.5 strikes per minute. It's very clear what's going to happen here. It's just the question of, does Pedro Munoz's chin get checked for the first time in his career overall? We're talking all of his losses, all 7 are by decision. Now, my little sneaky thing is that if Strickland's not going to get the sub for us, then maybe Sean O'Malley will at plus 1,000. You crack Pedro Munoz because we saw him get wobbled a little bit by Dom Cruz. We saw him get wobbled a little bit against Jose Aldo. But guess what? Those guys, they're not really looking to scoop up the neck when Pedro's, shooting in that little check takedown to get a little space. I think Sean O'Malley had Chris Moutinho fully wrapped up in one of those bad boys with 5 seconds left in the first round. If that thing keeps going, we got a first-round submission for Sean O'Malley if it's not the end of the round. So I'm not really looking to really take Sean O'Malley's money line, although it is a lot shorter than, like an Adesanya on this card. It's just for good reason. Sean O'Malley minus 300 and Pedro Munoz, what's his favorite thing to do? Throw leg kicks. There is a path to, hey, Sean O'Malley, not only, the Chito Vera fight we saw, but also the ankle injury he suffers against Sukumtat. So it's not something that just happened once. It's something to keep an eye on. And if, he survives the leg kicks against Almeida, okay.
He also seems to break his hands a lot.
Yeah. So, fuck, man. I'm not – listen, don't give me O'Malley minus 300. Let's go crazy.
Minus 350 on DraftKings.
Yeah, fuck that.
Shit.
O'Malley submission plus 1,400. So if you're going the crazy way.
No, O'Malley by submission plus 1,600.
No, plus 2,000 on Bet Online.
That's it.
No, plus 4,000.
So, all right. If you're taking the crazy train with TB, all aboard. But Guru, maybe you can talk some sensibility into the show.
So at the end of I don't even know if you can parlay Sean O'Malley, because if you really liked him, this line was out a week or two ago. He was minus 230. He was minus 200. He was minus 2. He was minus 250. He was minus 270. You could have got him anywhere at any time. Now at minus 350 against a guy when you look, you have to look at who O'Malley's fought. And again, I love all these fights. Other than Chito Vera, which is his loss, homie's fought nobody.
Yeah, he hasn't even fought Q-Meal.
It's bad. Talmas Almeida, his chin was done. Chris Moutinho, they cut him right the next fight. Paiva's you know what I mean? He's fairly suspect. I mean, he won, right? This past weekend, whatever. But that fight was whack.
No, he lost. Right? No, he lost to our boy Murazov.
Yeah, right, thank God. Fight,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was sweating that whole. Do you see how I just automatically assume I lose fights? You fight Cannonier, who was, just a, whatever, a guy in trunks there. It's tough. So I honestly think that, Sean probably wins a decision because it's a perfectly picked fight. Pedro's not going to grapple with him.
Yeah.
And he's just going to try to be tough with him because he's a macho guy. And the old Punisher is going to, try to punish him on the feet. And I'm not really sure how well that happens. You're going to you have to fight a perfect game plan if you're Pedro. And I don't want to play too much MMA math, but Jose Aldo didn't finish you. I don't know. It at the same time, he's had all of these fights and none of them have went the distance. Just the Sukumtat fight, I guess, and his Ultimate Fighter fight, or the against Terrion Ware. Both those fights randomly go to the decision, and then he hasn't seen one since. So kind of suspect. Maybe it's time to see it again. But even still, that line at plus 170 isn't even tickling my fancy too much. So what do you got for me, Uncle Weezy?
So this is, I got action on this fight, dude. I've got a 1-unit bet on Sean O'Malley to win by decision at plus 200. I've got a 1-unit bet on fight to go to decision at plus 120. Nice. And I'm waiting to pull the trigger on a finish only prop for Pedro Munoz. Because I think all the finishing equity here, I know what a fantastic striker O'Malley is. But unless he brings a shovel into the cage with him and hits Pedro Munoz in the face with it over and over and over again, while the referee is maybe Keith Peterson's drunk, or sometimes the ref gets knocked out in the old school wrestling, and then a foreign object comes out. That's the only. Pedro Munoz is so fucking durable.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy's never been finished in his entire career, and that's 27 fights. And you look at the guys that he's fighting at the UFC level, these guys are absolute killers. You know, Aljamain Sterling didn't finish him. Frankie Edgar didn't finish him. Jose Aldo didn't finish him. Now, Dominic Cruz doesn't finish anybody, but
nobody.
Pedro Munoz, dude, you're not finishing this guy. And this is a big step up here for Sean O'Malley.
Wow.
And I think that if there is a finish in the fight, it'll be Munoz. So what you could do is if you're thinking that O'Malley easily wins this by decision, and like you pointed out the stuff in the stats, you know, O'Malley landing 8.26, only absorbing 3.52, and he throws almost 3 more significant strike attempts per minute than his opponents. And Munoz is getting outlanded by about 0.6 significant strikes, outthrown by 2 significant strike attempts per minute, and the dude is at a 7-inch reach disadvantage and a 5-inch height disadvantage. And so how does he close distance? How does he win minutes here, you know, in the big cage against Sean O'Malley? I mean, everything, this is set up perfectly for O'Malley. But I would be shocked if O'Malley finished this dude. You know,
what if it's like his, but what if it's just like standing TKO stuff? Like, what if it's just, he's just bam, 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 like he's just teeing off and maybe most of them are getting blocked or whatever, but he's just eating too many punches.
Honestly, if I think that, here's what I think happens, dude. If that happens and like he's got Munoz up against the wall and he's just popping him with straight, I think Munoz lands a big overhand right and knocks out O'Malley. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Dude, like Munoz has got some fucking power. He's separated dudes from their consciousness. He hits very hard. And the reason he's able to do that is because he relies on his chin. He's always relied on his chin. And you know, maybe this will be the fight that it cracks, you know, because O'Malley's an awesome striker, but I can really only go on what I've seen. And Pedro Munoz, 35, he's getting towards the end of his career, especially as a bantamweight. But
you should feel,
man, is he durable, dude. So yeah, I love O'Malley here. I like him to win this fight, but I'm betting that it goes to decision, and I'm betting that Sean O'Malley wins that decision.
Yeah, I like the value on it. I think it makes sense. What is the sketchy juicy thing again? What's Sean in over 1.5?
Ooh,
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so Sean O'Malley in over 1.5 is -125. You cut a lot of value off, and you cut off, you know, some of that early durability if you think there's a possibility it happens late. Covers you on a lot of bases.
That's an even better bet, you know, just because like you got to believe that if he does knock out O'Malley, it's going to be like a situation like Matinho, you know, where you know it was just a piling up of strikes, and then Herb Dean stepped in. But what was funny about that was Moutinho was walking him down. And you watch at the end of the second round, Sean O'Malley's breathing so heavy and his mouth is so wide open from having to walk backwards from the constant pressure of Moutinho.
Right.
His mouthpiece fell out. He was breathing so heavily. He was exhausted in that fight. You know, that go back and watch it. I promise you. Look at the end of the second round. I'm not talking the end of the third round, the end of the second round. That pressure was really getting to Sean. And Chris Moutinho is nothing compared to Pedro Munoz.
That's a damn
so
fact.
It's going to be interesting, man. You know, Munoz, I mean, I think if Munoz wins, it's going to be by a finish because we know that Sean's been a little bit brittle in the past, man.
Yeah, it's totally fair. It's totally fair. I agree. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, so that brings us right along to our next fight here. We got Brad Riddell versus Jalen Turner. Talk about a banger and a half.
My God.
Banger alert. Can you throw up a banner? That's a fucking banger alert.
Let's see. Yeah, we could get a little something going here.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, of course. So I mean, to me, I mean, this fight, I'm seeing a lot of talk about, you know, okay, this fight, you know, we're talking banger alert. We got Jalen Turner's been knocked out 3 times. We got Brad Riddell. He's only ever lost by submission. He's only ever lost by knockout. You know, he doesn't have any decision losses on his career. Well, guess what, guys? I mean, both guys in their media day today, we're talking fight of the night potential. They know what's coming here. And Brad Riddell coming off of that first knockout loss, what tends to happen when we see someone come off their first knockout loss? Well, the guy's already got 55% striking defense. I think that number is going to go up because someone's going to be trying to play a little bit on the outside in the big cage. Jalen Turner coming in. I mean, we got an 8-inch height advantage. We have a 6-inch reach advantage. Brad Riddell, yeah, he might be a little bit quicker. And we saw when one of his counterparts, Jamie Malarkey, hopped in there with Jalen Turner. I mean, it looked like they were two different weight classes.
Yeah.
I just think overall, Malarkey relies on his chin a bit more than Riddell. And Riddell at least is able to outpace his opponents, and he sneakily goes for a lot of takedowns. He lands nearly 2 per 15 minutes at nearly 40%. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for this fight to play out in realms outside of the distance striking, because for all of Riddell's, city kickboxing, Tiger Muay Thai, kickboxing background, I mean, he spends 55% of his time at distance. So that means he's in control 13% of the time, and he's given up control 23%. Well, similarly, Jalen Turner, he spends only 63% of time at distance as well, but he's controlling 21%, and Riddell's controlling, and then he's getting controlled 16%. So I think this fight, we could see a lot of Jalen Turner controlling Brad Riddell. I think we could see Riddell, kind of going for a takedown, thinking, all right, well, I'm having trouble closing the distance and really exploding here. I think we could see a lot of clinch up along the fence. We saw that in the first round with Malarkey and Turner, and I just think Malarkey's striking defense, wasn't really up to snuff here. So ultimately, I mean, this fight, I mean, are we seeing – I really like Jalen Turner. Guru is really pissed off at me because this morning we could have had minus 135, and, I was like, no, we got to wait. And then 5 hours later, I'm like, all right, I'm ready. And it's like minus 150. I'm like, fuck, man.
Minus 162 on FanDuel.
Yeah, bro. It's like, well, fuck.
I'm a little salty over here.
So it's like, yeah. So, do you just hit that minus 150, kind of cut your losses before it gets to minus 190? Because Jalen Turner is legit going to look a weight class bigger. And I just think, you can see from his volume, he should be putting it on in the volume perspective. And if anyone's able to get a finish, I think Jalen Turner is a little bit more apt for it. I don't think Riddell's quite Vicente Luque, who is the most recent guy to knock out Turner. And the other guys that knocked out Turner were super early in his career. So, I kind of lean fading a little bit of the narrative here in this fight going the distance. And, Jalen Turner to kind of look like the winner here at plus 420 by decision, I think is one of those, plus 450 actually. It's not something I'll go crazy on, but Jalen Turner, I definitely like as the side. I'm just now I'm trying to find some cool props to throw on there too. Now that I missed that movement that Guru was mad at me about. So
yeah, there's really not much for me to say, honestly. Jalen Turner's both of these guys are absolutely incredible prospects. Brad Riddell at 30. It was something TB and I were talking about. Brad Riddell at 30, we've seen what Brad Riddell has to offer. Now, I think he's kind of, I don't want to say reached his pinnacle or whatever, but there comes a time where I don't know how many much more improvements, how much better he's going to get. We kind of know what Brad Riddell can do. Jalen Turner is somebody at 27 years old, we are watching continue to expand his game. He is somebody that didn't have these submission finishes, and now all of a sudden has had 2 in a row and three straight finish wins. It's a four of his 5 wins now. 4 of his last 5 fights have been finished wins by finish. Dude has just looked absolutely unstoppable, and it's because of however he makes his fucking weight cut, because he shouldn't be at this weight class. It's ridiculous. So the fact that as long as he can continue to do it and not look like shit in the cage, he's going to continue to win fights. And I think he's going to be it's rare that you're going to get the minutes winner. That's also probably the one that's more apt to get the finish, because you have somebody in Brad Riddell who really doesn't finish very many people. He hasn't, I don't think he has any finishes he has no finishes at the UFC level at this point. And his only finish is his finish loss. And then he even has a couple decisions on the regional scene. So, and again, not to play too much MMA math as I say that for the millionth time, but you go to, fight of the night decision with Jamie Malarkey, a guy that Jalen Turner beat the snot out of and got a bonus, but took no damage in it instead. It's okay, well, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? So I'd like Turner here. I'm a little, honestly, at this point, maybe it's the line actually correcting to where it should be. But now I'm kind of nervous with how much the line is shifting. The last time we saw the line flip this much was like last week with Tafon and Chukwu, where that line just kept going and going and going and going and going. And at a certain point, it's like, well, does this even still make any fucking sense? And of course it fucking didn't. That made no sense. So, and we were wrong. I mean, we think we're fucking slick. We had Tafon 2 units minus 108, whatever, or 1 unit. Like we think we got some movement. Whatever. That means shit. Like it's the wrong. We're following a narrative, a trend that Vegas, whoever, we play that game at telephone, and it just kind of seeps into our subconscious, and that's where we end up thinking that's the sharp side, and it's fucking not. So like, it's part of the game, but I think Jalen Turner is a fucking beast, and like I said, I'm a little nervous with how the line's starting to climb 30, 40 points, but
he did
Jalen
open
Turner's
as the favorite, at least in that regard.
Yes, at least he opened as the favorite. Weezy, it's been way too long since we've heard you, buddy.
So, like, I totally see what you guys are saying there. The line is moving. And then, I was on Nchukwu too last week. I was like, fuck, man, he can march this dude down. He's stronger than him, And we haven't seen much from Ulberg yet. I mean, the guy was scared to engage with fucking what's his name, the Water Buffalo. So I mean, what are we supposed to think about that? And then he just goes out there and barely touches Tafon, and Tafon's sleeping. So I don't know what that was, but the difference between Tafon and Chukwu and then this week Jalen Turner. I mean, I could legit see Jalen Turner fighting for a title here in a couple years. I mean, prove me wrong, okay? This guy is a fucking freak. I mean, like and he's doing a lot of things really well too. Jalen Turner, his opponents have attempted 26 takedowns, and Jalen Turner's only attempted 5. Yet Jalen Turner's out controlling his opponents. So in the grappling efficiency, this guy's efficiency has been fantastic thus far. And then you see he's landing a knockdown on 1.5% of the significant strikes that he's landing. He's averaging 1.45 knockdowns per 15 minutes. He throws almost 5 more significant strike attempts per minute than his opponents do. And he's got this cheat code with the height and the reach that he has. He just looks 2 weight classes bigger than everybody else that he's fighting. Now we're seeing him start to mix in that grappling, that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt that he has, or he might even be a black belt. I'm not sure, but he's good down there. And not only is he good, there's just so many things that you can do at 6'3" at 155 pounds, jiu-jitsu wise, that other dudes just can't. You can get chokes from angles that other dudes would never be able to dream of getting chokes from. You can do an elevator sweep and launch that dude into the air with your freakishly long legs, and then this guy's got power. I mean, he's got crazy power. So how does Brad win this fight? Look, Brad is a great kickboxer. I love watching this guy fight, but he hasn't knocked anybody out at the UFC level. He's only got 1 knockdown in 5 fights, so I kind of feel like he's got a puncher's chance, but he's got to close that distance, in order to land that big shot. And when you try to do that against somebody like Jalen, who's throwing those straight knees up the middle, who's using elbows when people close distance, cutting people open, and he's in a big cage where he's going to be able to use that reach advantage if he wants to move laterally and jab this guy up. That option is there as well. And I think he's the far better grappler. Yeah, Riddell's got 9 takedowns in 5 fights. He's averaging almost 2 takedowns per 15 minutes. He's getting his takedowns at a 39% clip. All that is really impressive. Here's the problem. With all those takedowns, with that good percentage, he's only controlling his opponents 12.65% of the time. That's 1/8 of a fight, right? A 900-second fight, an eighth is like 100 seconds. That means 800 seconds.
I don't know about you guys, but an eighth just won't cut it for me.
No, man, it doesn't. It never does. I mean, that's like a half day for professionals like us, But look, that's the problem here is that, Riddell gets takedowns, but he doesn't win enough minutes there. He's been in the cage 72 minutes. He's got 12% control time. So that's about 9 minutes of control time on 23 takedown attempts, on 9 takedowns. And some of that's cage control time. So he's not a take you down, hold you down, ground and pound you type of grappler. And let's not forget, I should say, that taking down Jamie Malarkey or Magomed Mustafayev or Drew Dober, those are much smaller men than Jalen Turner. It's hard to take tall dudes down. It's very hard. They can always find a base somewhere. And then he can start to attack with those guillotines and shit. He's sweeping dudes. I'm really confident in Jalen Turner here. He was almost my ass shaving of the week, but I wanted to kind of like bring out the pitchforks and torches because like I said it 4 times, I don't think Pereira is that good. I think Brad Riddell's very good. I just think that this is such a unique challenge at this weight class that I got to believe Jalen Turner is somebody that not only wins this fight, but that nobody's going to be calling out, that nobody's going to want to fight going forward. And that could get, he could get really up that rankings list quickly because he's got gifts that you can't teach.
Very, very true. He's extremely athletic and physical. And again, when you're talking about this kind of size advantage, you're right. Like there is no way to teach that kind of athleticism and size advantage over your opponents. With all that being said, Classic TB, he put the fight he wants to be on the main card in the main card.
Yeah.
But did I do it again?
Yeah. But it's what he does. It's okay.
I'm a professional,
It's his show, so he thinks he can just, listen, Dana, this is how we're gonna do it. So he put the headlining prelim before the old man fight. So I wish I could.
I'm gonna go grab a drink, you guys. I'll be right back.
Dude,
hell yeah!
Listen, if it's not alcoholic, don't come back.
No, it is alcoholic.
Hell yeah!
That's my guy right there.
Hell yeah!
TB wants to buy some height too. So.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I mean, listen, it's tough being a baller out there when you're not even 6 foot. It's tough, man.
I'm about to say I'm exactly 6 foot and I cannot ball. So shout out all the little kings, the young kings out there, you short kings, because like y'all, like Tyler, whatever. TV's like a fucking 4 inches shorter than me, and I do not want to.
What the fuck are you talking about?
3 inches? What are you,
bro? I'm like 5'10", bro.
Oh, all right, you're only 2 inches.
Yeah.
I was thinking somewhere else. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see you anywhere near a basketball court. So
yes, I mean ultimately I kind of talked about a little play before that was a little good idea if you're looking for plus money on some greasy stuff.
Yeah,
Adesanya and Jalen Turner, put them together, you get plus 104 on DraftKings.
Whoa.
Yeah, just money lines. I mean, you don't have to do any
crowds. Find this.
And if you want to take the ass shaving, which I kind of did on my own right because I forgot to play Strickland at plus money when we caught him on Bet MMA, you throw all three together. And you get plus 291. So Adesanya, Strickland, and Turner, those are probably the 3 that I feel most comfortable about on the card overall. I mean, that's a fun little bet there. And
yeah, I only have 2.5 units on Strickland at plus money. I was looking to double up, and it was gone.
Oh shit! Prince has got O'Malley and over 1.5 at plus 105. That's pretty sick.
That's it.
Yeah, where you got that, Doug? What book are you using?
Probably Bet Online would be my guess.
Yeah. Hey guys, we got plenty of people in the chat. We love that you guys are getting it crazy. Make sure if you're here watching us right now, throw a little like on our video.
Comment.
Please subscribe to the channel. Keep on throwing these comments in the live chat. We love the support. You guys are awesome. And like I am so apt to do, I did switch around the order. So we're gonna DraftKings same game parlay. Oh, you're in a different state. In New Jersey, they don't let us do those same game parlays on MMA still. Are you? You're not in Jersey, right, Prince? Because if so, me and Guru got our game all fucked up. So yeah, here we go. We're gonna move right along. Because we got Weezy coming back in
Weezy
town.
Went to the bar to go get the drink. I was like,
I go to the bathroom too.
Oh no, we Gucci dog. We're ready to roll because we got the backyard brawl right now. 2 dads at the barbecue. One thinks his burger's a little too well done. The other thinks the hot dogs aren't quite up to his par. Next thing you know, the shirts are off, and here we go, boys. We're rolling around.
If it's not medium rare and Hebrew National, then they really do have reason to fight.
Yeah, man, this is going to be a great fight, dude. But as gamblers, right? I prefer to bet on the fights where, like, for instance, we were just talking about Riddell versus Turner. I know both of those guys want to be there, right? They're
Yes,
both,
yes.
one's 27, one's 30. These guys are winning fights. They're on their way up. I know that when they step into that cage, that those guys are like, I'm going to kill that motherfucker across from me because he's standing in my way. With these two, I mean, because Brian Barberena is only 33 and he's already talking about retirement.
Yeah.
And not because his heart isn't in it, not because the dude's not a fucking awesome fighter, with a ton of heart and who puts on really exciting fights, because he's been, had nasty back surgeries, like 3 of them already, that the dude has had serious health problems. And if you have serious health problems, you shouldn't be in a cage fighting other trained killers in your underwear, And then you look at Robbie Lawler's fucking 40.
Yeah.
He started his career is 21 years, 2 months, and 4 days long as of today.
Whew.
21 years, dude. If
his career can buy a beer.
Yeah, he would be able to buy a beer now. For the last 2 months, he'd be able to drink legally. And I don't know where these guys are at. Nick Diaz, we hadn't seen him fight in 6 years when Robbie Lawler went out and got that win. And I saw Nick Diaz having some moments in that fight, And then Brian Barberena arguably just lost to Matt Brown, who's like, 39, 38, I think. It feels like it should be a very close line. It is. And I don't know which one of these guys wants it more, because there's nothing about their career trajectories at this point that tells me that they're showing up for anything but a check. And hopefully maybe they say, hey, let's go for a fight of the night, But on this card, that's going to be a tough row to hoe, being fight of the night. So I'm staying away, you guys. Absolutely staying away from this fight. My pick is Brian Barberena by decision, but my God, man. I'm not putting my money anywhere near this. Yeah, no touching. No touching.
No touching.
Yeah, man, agreed. I think it's a great no touching fight.
There's always money in the banana stand.
Yeah, they're both great though. I don't question either of them really kind of like wants to be there, but they're at that point in their career where it's like, which one of these guys wants it more? You can't just go back and look at the tape and be like, oh yeah, one of these guys has got a clear advantage. I don't think that's the case.
No, I totally agree. And listen, this is going to be like a new Chronic Combat special, because we're starting to go a little crazy on these guys. This fight to be a split or majority decision is plus 400. I am going to be placing some money on that. It's going to be it's what just happened, in the last fight out for them. We're
Matt
talking
Brown, right?
Yeah, Matt Brown fight. Boom, split decision. Yeah, Darian Weeks, you get a unanimous on. All right, that's great. But like, this is the same thing all over again. And listen, like we said, this is just going to be close, and you get that kind of value. It's a fun little bet. Guru, where are we finding that money to place the bet on that? No, you know what? This one's the banana stand bet, because there's no touching. But
we're going to the banana stand for
there's
this.
Always money in the banana stand.
Going to Uncle Weezy. We're going to Uncle Weezy's banana stand for this one, because I don't even want to go to Grandma's couch cushions for this.
Yeah.
But with exactly what Uncle Weezy said, so we can move along. I really don't have too much to add. I really did like Barberena at plus money on the money line. If that's still available, it's available on some books. It's not available on too many anymore.
Yeah, and, DraftKings, you got it still.
Yeah. So, like literally like a half unit, because you're a degenerate and you need something because I do. He's like, you're watching the Nick Diaz fight. Nick Diaz looks terrible. And he's countering him. And Robbie Lawler, it's Robbie fucking Lawler, man. He just wants to stand there and throw his shot. So that just means he's there to be hit. So if you're there to be hit against somebody like Brian Barberena, Brian Barberena showed that he still got pop in his step versus Matt Brown. So if you're there to be hit by somebody with pop in their step, you're probably not going to win. So I think Barberena probably sketchily wins out some sort of decision, but I like the split decision prop. And at the end of the day, like you so eloquently put, Weezy, these guys are here for a contract. They were warriors, but they're here to get their paycheck. So I don't know for sure that they're going to go put on a slobber knocker and go to the 15. I feel like they will, but
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to be a great fight, and
Yeah.
that's the best thing about a great fight is if you're on the fence whether to put money or not on it, just remember you can only really ruin it then.
Right.
Because you're already going to be watching a great fight. Now you might lose money on it, and then be like, and then you'd be saltier about the fact that you lost money on the fight than just enjoying what was a great fight.
But
It's so
Guru gets that FOMO.
It's true.
Yeah,
and
it happens.
It's so funny that we said that it was going to be a backyard barbecue fight because happy July 4th to everybody, right? That this will be going on that July 2nd. It's been a couple years since they've done the July 4th weekend card. They took, I believe, the last 2 years off. We haven't had one, I think, since Jones and was it Reyes? No, it was. Yeah, I think it was
It's a
Jones.
good question, but I know you guys might want to hop off the show after I do this, but it must be done. It's gonna be
No, it was Jones and Santos.
Come on, Barbie. Let's go, Barbie. All right. That's where I'm going on this fight, so we can get it sliding along here.
Wait, what? I don't even get the reference.
Barbarena, come on, Barbie. Let's go, Barbie. That's who I'm picking. That's my guy here. Yeah, I'm a Barbie boy. What can I say?
I was looking at Ian Gary, and I'm like, are you talking about his wife?
Nah, sorry. Yeah, what's going on, Mushroom? Let's get it popping. All right, so hey guys, we on to our next fight. We got Ian Gary, we got Gabe Green. We got Ian Gary with a pretty big height advantage, but the reach is actually pretty close, only 1 inch there. He is out of Sanford. He does keep his hands super low. I don't necessarily love that in the long run, but hey, he's shown a good chin. He's shown good cardio, shown some grappling ability. He's a pretty good guy to play around with. When you're facing the Darian Weeks of the world, I saw Gruden's face there. On the money line, I should add. Play around on the money line. But when you're talking about Gabe Green here, actually, Gary at -175 and Green at +150. I'm actually leaning the dog here. I think Green's got the cardio. He's got some offensive capabilities where he's going to come up and get, a little bit of control. And I think, he's going to push the pace. Jordan Williams is out there landing stuff in round 1 on Gary before he gets countered like a motherfucker. So to me, I see enough to where Green has got, more UFC experience. And he's also faced, in my mind, the better guys in the UFC to get your debut against Rodriguez. I mean, shit, dude. Daniel Rodriguez, a tough fight. And Lioness coming off a Contender Series. I mean, he got dropped, and that dude swings heavy. And he comes around and he picks it back up. And Gary, I don't think swings as big as Lioness does. So yeah, we're celebrating with some dog plays, dogs and beers, Mushroom. We're in here, baby. Hey, Daz, always in front of the show. And hey, I'm rolling with the dog here. I got Gabe Green +150.
I certainly understand it. I'm a big fan of Gabe Green, man. I've been a big fan of him since he came into the UFC on short notice, fighting Daniel fucking Rodriguez, and looked about as good as you can look, getting your ass whipped by Daniel Rodriguez. And then he comes in and he wins against Philip Rowe as a slight favorite, taking Philip Rowe down. And then he has a great fight against Lioness, right? That fight's not really going his way for the first round. And but we did the capping, right? And we said that about Lioness, that he really only had that first round, maybe a minute or two around 2, but then he literally, like, he just spontaneously combusts. He becomes a pumpkin. It's midnight, like it's over for him. and I shit you not, like, whatever, 4 minutes into round 2, there it is, he goes down. And so that's awesome with Gabe Green. Gabe Green's a fucking warrior, but that's like kind of the point here. Like, they're giving him somebody that's gonna stand and bang with him, not gonna test him essentially too much with wrestling, and you get a major size advantage in the same division. I just think that honestly he's smaller than Darian Weeks, right? And certainly smaller than Jordan Williams. So I do think that Ian Gary is gonna kind of stunt here. I understand why Gary's a fade. People don't like that he's overrated. They don't like that he calls himself McGregor, or that he's him and Chael and McGregor are the 3 best trash talkers. Like, the whole thing is super cringy. Dude, you know what's legit? His fucking baby mama, his girl. I don't know if you guys have seen that. She is a 45 out of 10. Like, it's
Whoa.
she's insane. So
I've
go
not
check.
seen her. I have not seen her.
Dude, she's a commentator for BT or something. She does something great. She's amazing. Yeah, nobody kills the mic like Ian Gary.
Dripping with sarcasm. We love it. You see the eye roll there?
No, I think he means that.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali wasn't great on the mic or anything, and Conor McGregor was okay. This kid Gary's special, though, on the mic.
I like honestly, you get the fight to go the distance at even money. I kind of like that. Gabe Green's only UFC fight to not go the distance is the one where he finishes Lioness because Lioness became a pumpkin. So I like the fight to go the distance if you can't pick a side. And I'm on Ian Gary though, and somehow you can get Ian Gary, by decision, which to me is probably his most likely way to win because Gabe Green has a head that's tough as nails. That's not really a saying, but I'm going to say it now. You get your minus 184 favorite in Gabe Green. What? You get your minus 184 favorite in Ian Gary at plus 220 decision. So that's like kind of odd to me. And of course, plus 300 at KO is like not necessarily the worst either. But I like the decision because Gary he'll just stay on the outside and he won't put himself in too bad of a spot like he did against Darian Weeks. Like, that would be fine. So I wasn't sweating that ticket at all last time.
2029 UFC middleweight championship fight, Gary versus it's beautiful. Sid. He's Strickland in the house. I love it, man. So, I'd be careful with the fight goes to decision here, right? Gabe Green has finished 10 of his 11 wins inside the distance. The one that he didn't finish was Philip Rowe, where he had kicked his leg off and then followed him to the ground instead of finishing him. And Gabe's actually been knocked out in 2 of his 3 losses. And one of them, it's like on the regional scene, and like if you go to the tape index, you'll see it. It's like a really bad recording, and there's like you could see like the screen in the back almost better than the cage where the fight is taking place. But Green gets slept in the first round, dude, and he got dropped by Leoness. And then what I didn't like about Gabe Green was he was giving up moments in the grappling exchanges, in particular against Philip Rowe after he had him hurt. Rowe was taking him down pretty easily and then staying on top of him. There's a lot of things to like about Gabe Green, right? The conditioning is fantastic. The volume is fantastic. And what we've seen at the UFC level thus far is that this dude's got a chin. You can hit him hard and he can come back and recover and look good doing it. And he walks forward. Gotta love that against somebody like Ian Gary, who's going to have the size and reach advantage here. Crowd the kicker, crowd the guy with the reach advantage so that they can't use it. So I think there's a lot of things to like about what Gabe Green does. I still think he's very hittable. 49.41% striking defense at this level. And Gary made a nice, this is something that people didn't really give him any credit for in the Jordan Williams fight, right? Because he's showing that tall man defense. He's walking back with his chin up. Yep. And what Jordan Williams was doing was he was throwing that first punch kind of as a feeler, but it was the second and the third punch that he was trying to hit Gary with. And he was having some success with it early. But he wasn't bringing his feet with him, right? So he's throwing that first punch, and then the second one just has his head way out over his feet, and then the third one even more so. Well, Gary picked up on that, and at the end of the round, Jordan comes in with another 3-punch combination, but the first one misses by a mile, and he doesn't back up. He counters with that straight right, and it's right on the button, and it ends the night for Jordan Williams. Gabe Green's got a lot of holes in his game, man. I think he's a really good submission grappler, but I think he's really easy to take down. I think that he's got great conditioning and he walks forward and he throws a ton of volume, but he's fucking hittable. And he's been knocked out in 2 of his 3 pro losses. And here's the other thing. In that Leoness fight, if Leoness has 3 rounds of conditioning, he's easily winning that fight because he's landing the heavier shots and he's getting the takedowns, right?
You know who has 3 rounds of conditioning?
Ian Gary.
Mm.
Yeah, Ian Gary absolutely has. Ian Gary isn't going to go away after one tough round. Ian Gary isn't going to gas out if he decides to wrestle here, which we haven't seen yet. That's one thing. That's why I haven't gotten to the window on Gary yet. Well, there's 2 reasons. One, because he doesn't wrestle. 0 takedown attempts so far at the UFC level, and I think he could easily win minutes if he chose to wrestle here. 2, I thought the money would come in on Gabe Green, but I've been wrong about that. The money's actually going the other way. It's coming towards the Ian Gary side here. And I realize there's some hype on him, but Gabe Green's fucking good. And I kind of figured that the money would come in on Green and I'd get a better price on Gary. It didn't happen. I think I've missed the boat, so I'm going to stay away from it. But I'm picking Ian Gary to win this, and I think he might even get it done inside the distance.
Whoa.
I can vibe with that. I totally can because Gary does have a ton of talent. Plus, I really like that he walks out to the Arctic Monkeys. So you can talk me into him winning the fight here. When we were live at his debut at MSG, Guru got us the tickets for my birthday. We went down and I hear Arctic Monkeys start kicking on. I'm like, oh shit. And look who's walking out. It was Ian Gary. So that shit was awesome live to see happen.
What's your favorite Arctic Monkeys album?
Ooh, I really liked AM. I think their sound really came together. I wasn't a big fan of what came after that. But I mean, then if you go all the way back to, whatever people tell me I am,
that's my jam, man.
That's the one too, So those are my 2 favorites as far as they go. You got the old school and the new school.
Yeah, man, that old school stuff. That first album that they released was just from pillar to post was amazing stuff. I'm a big fan.
The amount of times that me and my buddy listened to that driving back and forth to college up to UMass. Oh man, so many times. So good. But at the end of the day, I totally see the angle. And if that line keeps on running and Green keeps on getting to be a bigger dog, I'm going to get more and more tempted. But this isn't something I have pulled the trigger on. I'm taking a wait and see approach because, Gary is one of those guys that does have a lot of talent.
Let me ask it again.
Uh-oh.
Ian Gary and over 1.5. What's the line?
Ooh, all right. So here we go. We're going to another one of the Chronic Combat specials.
Another one.
It's minus 110 over 1.5, and Ian Gary minus 110. So you can smack that up if you'd like. That sounds like a pretty tasty one.
Yeah.
And we got another tasty backyard brawl coming up here on short notice, no less, and up a weight class for Jim Miller. We got Jim Miller and Donald Cerrone. Am I doing the order right still, my fellas? I'm hoping so. Because we're sliding right along.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought maybe this fight was above that one, but I'm not sure.
It is, yeah. Yeah, they got Cerrone Miller's taking place after Gary Green.
Yeah.
Oh, but who cares, man? Who gives a shit? This card is too fucking good to be worried about minutia like that, man.
Exactly. Yeah, listen, if there's another classic thing for Chronic Combat, it's TB swapping up the order. So it wouldn't be right if we did
UFC does it all the time, too. It's not your fault, man.
Exactly. Yeah. But here we go. I mean, pretty straightforward to me, this fight. It's probably not going the distance. We got the UFC AARP Mushroom in the chat. Great job, man. You get all the credit for that. Thanks, Daz, for shouting out, sending out that link because Mushroom ended up seeing we were going live. We gotta love it. Weezy with the mic drop. We are not worthy. But hell yeah, guys. Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, I just think I'm a little bit more sketched out about where Cowboy's going, after this fight than I am Jim Miller. So yeah, I lean Jim Miller, but at minus 195. Fuck no, I'm not playing that. Yeah, I guess, if I'm just gonna say anything, it's this fight. It's just not going the distance in my mind. Under 1.5, that's probably a little too crazy for me. For an under 1.5, a fight not to go the distance, minus 225. It hasn't reached that ridiculousness of the line, which means that it's going to go the distance like we've seen with all these minus 400s and above. With the fight doesn't go the distance. I feel like everyone we've seen recently has gone the distance. So the fact that this one's minus 225, I will trust that this fight actually does not go the distance. So, Guru, you got some deep thoughts on this one, or are we skimming the surface here?
Listen, if you have deep thoughts on this one, then you're deep pondering, a very shallow puddle. But at the same time, right? What is the under 1.5? Very curious.
Yeah, to your point. So the
No,
under
I
one
didn't
and a
say my
half
point
here
yet.
is
Give my point
plus
yet.
115.
Okay, so I didn't give my point yet. But my point is Donald Cerrone's last 3 fights, right, have gone other than the Anthony Pettis fight. So 3 of his last 4 fights have been finishes in the first round. And then you look at the other side of that in Jim Miller, and 3 of his last 4 fights have 3 of his last 5 fights have finished in the first round. His 2 decisions being to decision masters Joe Selecki and Vince Pichel. Those guys get decisions in their sleep. They decision their way in the shower. They're always getting decisions. So Jim Miller, came out and surprised everyone with, again, beating Nicholas Mota. Vegas lined him a favorite. They rebooked the fight. Vegas flipped the odds because of where all the money went. And he came out there and he cracked Mota after getting cracked himself. Like, he would look really fucking impressive. And then the way he killed Eric Gonzalez, has that guy come back from the UFC yet? I haven't seen him yet, I don't think. He knocked him out bad. That was bad. So, yeah, and you see Donald Cerrone, yeah, he doesn't have to cut the weight again, but he's still gotta probably cut some weight, and he's still gotta fight. And the one other thing that's interesting is, I don't know if it's random tape. I don't know if it's anybody's memory banks, but if you guys rewatched the first Donald Cerrone Jim Miller fight, it's fairly classic in that Donald Cerrone is a slow starter as per usual, and he's getting hit a little bit here and there, and then boom, he hits him with a nice straight kick right to the body. Oh, and that hurts him, and then he really senses it, and he's just blasting him with kicks, straights to the body, straight teep kicks to the body, jabs, bam, bam. He's just starting to tee off on him, and eventually he just keeps going after the body. And shout out Brian Stan, who I'm sure everybody misses on some level. He's like, I think eventually he's going to go to the head with this. And he keeps going to the body. And 45 seconds later, he throws out the jab to make you block his head. And you come around it with the head kick because you've been looking at the head kick at your body the whole time. And it puts Jim Miller pretty much down. Awesome. Fantastic. Does Donald Cerrone fight like that anymore? Not really. So I like Jim Miller at the line earlier. What was he? -1, -140, -150 or something? I like it there. Now, forget it. Not interested. Probably fight doesn't go the distance. Probably fight doesn't go the distance. I like the under 1.5 as a shot. I'm reaching into grandma's armchair for the first time, I believe.
The couch cushions, they've been waiting.
Cushions. So that I'm gonna reach into it for that play.
All right,
that's it.
I can dig that. And then a Weezy, but what are you thinking?
So the way I'm looking at this fight is that the narrative has the line where it is, and I'm not a narrative guy,
okay.
So if a narrative is driving the line of the fight, either I'm going to be on the other side of where the line is getting driven, or I'm just not going to be there. And I'm probably not going to be there for this fight, because if you were to break down the stats, if you were to break down these guys' career, go through the stylistic intricacies of this fight, Donald fucking Cerrone's better everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, it's really not even close. He's taller. He's longer. He's got more experience. He's the better finisher. He's more durable. He's the far better striker, and he's the better grappler in that he's faced 69 takedowns and only been taken down 7 times, showing 90% takedown defense and being controlled. And now, mind you, over a 37 fight sample size, this guy's been controlled for 5.37% of his cage time. So you're not taking this guy down. You're not winning minutes on the ground. And if you've got a 71-inch reach and you're 5'8", chances are you're not winning minutes against this guy on the feet. He's fought, beaten, and lost to the better brand of competition. He's been in the top 5 when Miller barely breaks into the top 10, and every time he does, he loses. But what this line is saying is, look, we think Cerrone's done. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But Jim Miller's 38 and he has Lyme disease. So, is that the guy you're laying minus 200 on here?
I'm Scott Malkinson and I have diabetes.
Everybody hates you, Scott. Stop talking about how you have diabetes, But like, it's just not how it. This is a narrative line right here. So if you're on that Cerrone side and you think that he's going to come back and fight like he wants to win this fight, I think the value's on him. Am I doing that? No, I'm not betting on Cerrone because, if the narrative winds up being correct, he probably gets starched in the first round, So it's a guessing game. It's another situation where I'm saying, like, I know what, for instance, Ian Gary and Gabe Green, I know that they're going to go down there and throw down. I know that both of them want to win this fight. And the same thing with Riddell against Turner. And the same thing with O'Malley against Munoz. And the same thing with even I against Barber or Tavares against Duplessis. These guys want to win. I don't know where either of these guys' hearts are at. I don't know which one of these guys is going to leave their gloves in the cage after this one is over. And there's a good fucking chance it's one of the two of them, right? So it just, there's so many unknowns here. I'm not taking the plus money trap on Cerrone, and I'm not laying juice on a 38-year-old Jim Miller when I don't think he's better anywhere than Cerrone if Cerrone shows up and fights his fight. So, yeah, staying away, guys.
Amen.
Smart. I mean, like, how could you not, like, if we do a betting show where we want to talk about sometimes, somehow responsible gambling, how could anybody criticize you for not having a bet on that?
Yeah, I will tell you the least surprising thing I've seen, and I'll pull it up one more time.
He's being selfish.
Our boy Daz has 2 units on Cowboy. I mean, we're talking, you got to scroll through Daz's bet MMA sheet. So.
You and Clint too, man. Listen, I get
it. Fair enough.
Big on, he went something like 3 units on.
Listen, on the way Uncle Weezy puts it, and he's so eloquent when he puts it. And Cerrone's better everywhere. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's taller. I'm like, okay, maybe we want some okay, let's get some dog money and flowing on Cerrone, and then we bring it back to earth, and it's like, yeah, but I see it, man. The one thing you can't hate is playing the dog in a spot like that. Like, I get it.
Yeah,
right.
Like, there's no issue with that, even if it's
so.
Cerrone.
Does that mean we are playing the dog Uriah Hall versus Andre Muniz?
No.
Okay. So we're on to the next one here, and Uriah Hall plus 265 and Muniz at minus 320. Man, this one's gotten away from us. And you look at this props, Muniz by sub is minus 120. Is this the fight that just falls into like cash the narrative type of basis? Because when you break it down at whatever level, it's like, well, the one thing that does stick out is like Uriah Hall has never lost by submission. Yeah. So if we go to fade the narrative, Muniz by decision at plus 650, I'm thinking about it. Guru, what do you think?
Dude, that was incredible. Why do you even need me on this show, man? Like, that's amazing. You're right. You're 100%, like, he might just lay on top of him. Like, you see that this guy has, landing 1.6 strikes per minute and absorbing 1.93. That's not good. So how's he still in the UFC? Oh, wait a minute. He's winning all of his fights? I'm so confused. Well, because he's dominating fools. 35% opponent control time. Control time. What is concerning is giving up 33% control time in reverse. But, Uriah Hall with 0 takedowns that landed in the UFC, like, that's not, or what? Yeah, not 0 takedowns landing in the UFC. 0.6 takedowns per 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets blurry in there and I can't see everything. But 0.6 takedowns per landed in the UFC, like, he's not somebody that's going to be using his grappling at all, and somebody that doesn't want to use his grappling. But then you actually look at Uriah Hall's stats. Uriah Hall's getting it outlanded at distance. Like, that's not great. I guess his, generally landed. His distance landed at distances seems to be a little bit better for him.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned how long it stays on the feet. right? Doesn't Uriah Hall have a 65% takedown defense? That's not excellent.
Not excellent. No.
No, that's not excellent. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want my money on that.
Yeah.
So if you want Uriah Hall, I don't even you don't have to be an MMA handicapper. You don't have to have your own show to understand you need to be betting Uriah Hall by KO at plus 380, because that's how he's going to clip. If he's going to win, he's going to clip this guy that's been KO'd before. And
4 times in 4 losses.
Right. It's just been a while.
Yep.
So
Mirzakhanov was the last one to get him.
And that guy's a beast. He took
he is, dude. he fucking knocked out Tafan and Chukwi. Nobody does that.
Well, right.
Wait a second. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I was kind of reading into that. Oh, it's a nice flying knee knockout. Maybe this guy has a lot of power. Maybe he's a good knockout artist, whatever. Then you watch Tafan go down the next week. Yeah, Alberg's impressive, but like maybe Tafan's really not that good. I mean, and then maybe Azamat's, where does he actually fall? And then where does somebody like Muniz fall if you're getting knocked out by him? So it is concerning. So if you're concerned and you don't want to lay minus 350 on somebody who's a 32-year-old prospect, then you're taking Uriah Hall by KO at plus 380. Otherwise, like you said, Andre Muniz by decision at plus 600, equally tantalizing. So,
yeah, for this one, for me, it's kind of like a big stay away, because the fight doesn't go to decision is juiced to the tits. It's like minus 450. You know, I mean, you can't really even bet that.
These are the ones I was talking about.
Yeah, you know, and then so that means that the Muniz submission prop is, you know, you're paying more than a 50% implied probability of that happening against the guy with 27 professional fights who's never been subbed, 18 of those fights at the UFC level, all 18 of those fights coming against opponents who know, I better get this fucker down to the ground, otherwise he might spinning hook kick me into the next week. So, you know, it's not like Uriah Hall's just gotten lucky and never gotten submitted. Everybody's trying to take him down. You know, he's faced almost 50 takedown attempts in his UFC career, and he's been taken down 17 times, but he's getting controlled 26% of the time. So that's why I think this line is so wide, because people are like, man, all Muniz needs is one. And this guy's getting arm bars, you know, when nobody gets arm bars anymore.
Breaking Jacare's arm.
Dude,
and my heart at the same time.
Remember hearing that bone snap?
Oh.
No.
Oh, yeah, you could absolutely hear it, dude. I mean, you go back and you watch it, you'll hear the bone snap on the camera. I mean, like,
Jacare is one of my favorite fighters ever. So I just
man.
that in my memory. Between that and the Kevin Holland knockout, the end of his career is like the last season of Game of Thrones. I just didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. don't know what you're talking about.
So that's kind of one of those ones. So now it's up minus 550. Fight goes the distance. If I'm following all the trends of the past few, whatever, plus 350 fight goes the distance just to be absolutely psycho, or you do over 1.5 plus 120 and get some value, and then you don't have to sweat the whole fight. You still get plus money. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be a psycho.
When the favorite gets to be minus 400 or more, I just stay away, because if I think that favorite's winning, then I'm paying way more than I should, for inside the distance props, for decision props, for the money line, for anything. And it just removes any room for error. And we know, as long-term MMA UFC bettors, shit happens, dude. It's a fight. And when you're leaving room for error, when you're laying juice at minus 300 over and over and over again, dude, you got to be right 8 out of 10 times to squeak out a 5% profit over the long run. That leaves very little.
You're skipping a fight again,
dude. Yeah, exactly. So we skipped to Tavares.
Okay. Yeah. Man, but they really switched.
So I'm staying away
three
from
on a
Hall
12
Muniz.
fight card.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm staying away from Hall Muniz, but I'm not staying away from his tequila bottle. I'm getting another drink. I'll be right back.
Yeah,
let's go, baby.
Let's go.
So we are going to get kicked off on our next fight here. We got to keep this train rolling. We got quite the party going on here. Make sure you guys give a like on the show here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We bring fun times every week. No matter what, it's always fun. So fun. We got Brad Tavares versus Dricus du Plessis.
By the way, you have to. By the way, playing this fight. No, we are going to be playing this. I want to have a track play on this fight going the distance because I think it like I really do bro, like what the fuck, how
What,
many,
Muniz versus Hall?
yeah, like yes, how
All right,
many,
all right, all right, all right. Well,
or even
let's
a
keep
half
it.
unit or something, like
All
how
right,
many
yeah,
times
but
do we have
like
to see that shit?
we're already at the 145 mark, and
He's
we
getting
still
another
have
drink.
3 fights to go here. Poor Weezy has been worked to the bone. This
Dude,
guy giving us the
that's what I
work
was
here.
saying. I
This
thought
is
that like
beautiful.
I thought that maybe we're running too long, but he's getting another drink. Like homie wants to keep going. Like I bet we'll
All right,
keep
well,
bringing away.
hey, all right, people, here we go. So Brad Tavares plus 125, Dricus du Plessis minus 145. That line was flipped before. Flip flop. This is the spot, Guru, that you were talking about before that I'm getting sketched out on now.
Okay.
All right,
I agree completely.
Okay, you understand what I'm saying? The guy
Yeah.
starts as the underdog, and it's the public dog, and all of a sudden we're like, oh well, now we went from Dricus du Plessis plus 120 to plus 110 to now he's minus 1. It's even money now. Oh wait, now here we're sitting here on the show. It's minus 145 Dricus du Plessis, and by the time weigh-ins are done, it's going to be Dricus du Plessis minus 190.
He's
right?
minus 164 on FanDuel right now.
Right, exactly. So DraftKings is going to follow suit soon. It's just what happens here. And yeah, I mean, listen, so ultimately, Dricus du Plessis here. I saw someone pointed out on Twitter earlier. Thank you so much. I sent it to Guru. I forgot who it was, but yeah, I mean, our boy Maluka's out here. Mr. Perez outstriking du Plessis until he goes for a spinning back elbow and gets clipped with a counter left. Yeah, that'll do it to you every time.
Coming too, which just makes it more likely to knock you out.
Exactly. So if that fight keeps going, I mean, du Plessis already breathing heavy. He looks nervous the whole time. Okay, UFC debut. Okay, all right, we got you. You come in versus Trevin Giles. You take care of business. All right, yeah. I mean, you're a lot bigger than Trevin Giles.
Fairly even fight in that.
It was.
I mean, he was doing some damage.
Giles was getting a little bit of control. Like it was not, a little bit, not too much, because du Plessis ends up reversing most of it. But like, yeah, I mean, du Plessis lands his own takedowns that fight.
He does. I just worry, on some level, like, is Brad Tavares actually a step up from Trevin Giles?
Yes,
like it'd be a
500%.
Absolutely.
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. Because
that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear.
It's 20 UFC fights versus a guy that, went to go make the walk one day and, all of a sudden he passed out in the chair. You know what I mean? Like Brad Tavares, I mean, he's a guy that's been in there with everybody. He went the distance with our boy in the main event, Izzy Adesanya.
Yeah.
And, I don't think Dricus du Plessis gets an easy finish here. Could he get the finish? For sure. I mean, that's what du Plessis does. That's his game plan. But it's Brad Tavares all day here. And du Plessis, he's only ever been finished when it comes to his losses. But good news for him, Brad Tavares has 13 decision wins compared to only 8 finishes. So this is like the Haulian Paiva here of the middleweight division, because Tavares probably isn't knocking you out. But he does have a 17% control rate, and du Plessis, a guy more than willing to get into grappling exchanges, he's going to be facing a guy that, is quote unquote his own size. It's like you're not beating up on the undersized Maluka Perez. You're not beating up on the guy that you're supposed to beat up in Trevin Giles, who, yes, is also undersized at 185. So now you're facing a guy your own size, a guy that's got 10 times the amount of UFC fights that you have, and you've never been the distance. All right, bro. Yeah, bet. It's Brad Tavares all day plus 125.
Like in a literal 10 times as many UFC fights, not a figure.
Literal.
Literal 10 times.
20 to 2. So
yeah, that's interesting. Brad Tavares's career takedown defense across those 20 fights being nearly 80% is something that does interest me. Something that does concern me, however, is that his opponent control percentage is 20% still. That's not ideal. The other thing that concerns me very much is he's very heavy on his lead leg. It's just kind of the way that he fights. He's going to be very open for Dricus's very explosive leg kicks. I don't know how many of those he can eat. The other thing about Brad Tavares is, yes, it's been a while since he's been finished now. I guess 3 years. But it's just like his finish losses, while they've come to decent competition, they just were such explosive, highlight KOs. Like his KO loss to Edmund Shabazian was bad, and his KO loss to Robert Whittaker was really bad. Like, so those things are tough, but so that's why you like Driscus as a dog. That's why you like Driscus as pick'em. That's why you like cool. I understand that. Now though, that's not the reality we're living in. The reality we're living in is Driscus is now minus 164. You've got Brad Tavares at plus 125, and it's like, okay, I can see myself on that. I'm very curious, like what a fight goes a fight. There's no finish. What's that fucking
Yeah,
verbiage?
finish only or
Finish
decision only.
Decision.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Decision only. So I'd be interested to see what a decision only for Tavares would look like. I'm sure it's probably him with a favorite, but I would be interested to see what the line is.
And consequently, the reverse of that too, right?
Finish only for Dricus. Yeah.
What do you think, Weezy?
So I've got a bet on the fight doesn't go to decision at plus 105. Dricus, 18 fights, all 18 of them have finished inside the distance. And, it's another thing where this guy, Duplessis, he's got a win over Roberto Soldic. He's also got a loss to Roberto Soldic. And he's got another loss. He's been finished in both of his losses. So, whenever you get a fighter with 18 fights and all of them have finished inside the distance, and then you're getting plus money on fight doesn't go to decision, which is ridiculous seeing as the finish rate for 185-pound fights that are 3 rounds sitting around 56%. So you shouldn't be getting less than 50% for that fight to finish inside the distance when you got a kill or be killed fighter like Duplessis in there. And Tavares, he's got great leg kicks of his own. He's got some pretty good power. And yeah, I don't think Dricus is that good. It's another situation where, he's 28 years old, so he could absolutely be making improvements in leaps and bounds, and he's very well-rounded. His grappling numbers are pretty good. He's gotten 2 of the 4 takedowns he shot for. He's controlling his opponents 16% of the time, only allowing 2% control time. So you like all that, but he's not taking down Brad Tavares. Sorry, that's not happening. That's not on the menu. And Tavares has fought the much, much, much better brand of competition here. It's a huge step up for Dricus. And, I don't know what I can do with wins over Trevin Giles and Marcus Perez. I think Trevin Giles is awful. I think he's got some of the worst fight IQ I've ever seen. Yes. That's saying something. I just lost money on TJ Brown. I had a minus 200 bet on Corey McKenna against Elise Reed. And I still think that Trevin Giles has some of the worst fucking fight IQ that I've ever seen. Jimmy Crute. I've laid juice on Jimmy Crute and that dumb fucking mullet of his. Yeah. Not once, you guys, not once. The Anthony Smith fight wasn't enough for me. I had to go out and bet him again against Jamal Hill because I'm like, he learned from the Anthony Smith fight. He's going to grapple this
time. Didn't we do that too, TB? Didn't we do that too?
What was that?
Didn't we do that too?
Which one was that? The
Jamal, we bet
Jamal Hill, Jimmy Crute. Did you lay juice on him twice?
Jimmy Crute on twice. Yeah. Anthony Smith and Jamal Hill.
Yes, we did it 2 times. I'm sorry.
Hurts so bad, dude. You like
and we were on Johnny Walker too. So that I don't even know why we should be saying that. We might lose a couple followers for that one.
And I'm saying this, like for whoever fights Jamal Hill next, if you don't try to take this dude down in the first 10 seconds,
it's Thiago Santos. So it's not. It's Thiago Santos. He's a main event for Thiago Santos. So no.
Oh, no.
It's not happening. Just another Jamal Hill
Thiago
win.
Santos has got knees like Kyle in South Park after he got that surgery to become a tall black guy.
Yeah.
And he wound up jumping. They were testicles for knees. That's basically what Thiago has right now. So, I think Jamal Hill is going to be like minus 1,000 in that one. But I feel like if I had to make a bet on this fight on a money line side, I'd be on that Tavares side. I'd be on Tavares by decision, even maybe. But I think he could get a finish here. I think that this fight finishes inside the distance more times than it doesn't. And I think it's going to be a fun fight. But I gotta just being a stat guy, I gotta be on the Tavares side here because he's just, he's more experienced. He's fought the better brand of competition. He chooses where the fight takes place, whether it stays on the feet or whether it goes to the ground. And you know, he's just as big as this dude, and I think that this is the first true middleweight that he's fighting.
There we go.
Don't forget, Duplessis spent a lot of time at 170.
Here we go,
Yeah.
evil. Here we go. Oh, oh. Here we go, evil. Here we go. Oh, oh.
Yeah, it's Macy Barber, and it's minus 285.
Jesus,
I've been
that line has ballooned.
I've been supremely sketched out by women's MMA when it falls between the lines of minus 150 and minus minus 250. So Macy Barber is actually moving into that territory where we see like the Manon Fiorot, where we see, but my question is she really worthy of it? Like we see some of these other women's MMA fighters where we really lay that minus 400, 500, 600. Like we do that and we feel good about it. When we lay the women's MMA minus 150 to minus 250, as we've seen the last 2 weeks, it gets super sketchy. We got our Jasmine Jasdaviciuses. We got our Gloria Del Paulos. If you go back, we got our Kay Hansons versus Jasmine Jasdavicius. You know what I mean? Like
Rodriguez.
It's
Corey McKenna.
That's it. Anytime that you see a women's MMA line and it's in that like decently long minus 100 range, all the way up to like a decently long minus 200 range, I'm immediately
Fry.
Yes.
Last week.
Thank you. 3 for 3 the past 2 weeks.
We were on Vanessa. We'd faded Jinyu Fry. Like we made a couple of good plays with that.
So I'm learning here. I am learning here. So this time
is not
okay.
This
is not the one this time. It's moving enough in that direction, and we see enough discrepancies all around. And Jessica, you're just on the way out at this point. That's the way it seems. And Macy Barber showed just enough in the fight IQ, just enough in the physicality, and just enough in the overall game plan against Montana De La Rosa that she knew what she needed to do, and she dominated De La Rosa in her best game plan. Like Jessica is the split decision queen, so maybe Macy Barber can show her how it's done on the split decision circuit. It could be one of those sketchy ones, so I'm not laying Macy Barber money line. That's my
problem.
The
problem is that Jessica is completely boxing centric. She blitzes forward. She's boxing forward. Combos are great. She's a great fight. Awesome. Whatever. But she's not. There's no grappling. There's no there's nothing. She's not doing anything successful there. She's not winning fights there. She's not even really hurting people on the feet. Like it's just boxing. And the problem is Macy's going to feel comfortable swinging on you because we know she's got that power and we know she likes to box. But guess what? She's going to crash on you, Jessica and hold you in the clinch and dump you on the cage. Like it's not going to go great for Jessica here. So I don't even necessarily see her as a minutes winner. Like how it would have to be it's Sal Diamato picking dingleberries out of his ass. It's Derek clearly smoking a crack pipe under the judges table. So sure, you want to bet this fight could go split decision, go right ahead.
Got Jaron Voel huffing glue. Did you see that? He was huffing glue. Yes. I am not exaggerating.
Smelling his own marker. Whatever.
I mean, it's just
like what I was doing. Like these guys are crazy. They're crazy, yo. They're huffing a paint primer in the back. Like I don't even know what's happening. I don't know what fight these guys are watching. Adeline Bird, like I don't know what she's giving some head.
She's doing bath salts in the back. It's just a mess.
It is an absolute disaster. So whatever, you got to have one of these fights to go the distance. I think this fight definitely goes the distance. Absolutely, without question, goes the distance. And I think Macy Barber wins. So I don't know, maybe Macy Barber over 1.5. Maybe shave a little bit of that money line down but again, like I get so frustrated because like Macy Barber minus 220 3 days ago, guys, like 40, like you got to do your research and pull the fucking trigger because these lines get crazy now, especially like Weezy was saying with other sports coming to an end, it's going to get even crazier. So you gotta be up to snuff on your research. Make sure you're following us on BetMMA and Twitter, and do your own individual research because these lines get crazy.
You got anything here, Weezy?
Yeah, I mean, I think Macy Barber by decision is the pick here, right? You know, I see her being the one winning minutes, but once again, we're putting our hopes into the hands of the judges, and they kind of owe Macy one, right? They owe Macy a loss decision after she gets a win due to what
Yes.
happened in the Miranda Maverick fight, right?
Yes.
And dude, Jessica Ai is in nothing but close fights. She got head kicked by the good Shevchenko. Every other goddamn Jessica Ai fight, you like flip a coin, right?
Yeah.
You know, and now you want to lay almost minus 300 on Macy Barber here, dude. If you look, Ai has 9 UFC losses. She's only been finished once, okay? And she's fought everybody. A lot of those fights were at 135, for Christ's sake.
And what was that finish, by the way? I can't seem to remember.
It was Valentina.
Oi! There he is.
Yeah, man. It was Valentina with the head kick, you know, the good Shevchenko. So Macy Barber by decision is definitely the best look in my opinion here, but you're counting on the judges getting this right. And Jessica's in a lot of close fights. So I think if you're betting Barber, better by decision. Don't lay almost minus 300. Get her close to even money, or is it even plus money?
Ooh, that's yeah. Let's get that answer.
Well, yeah. What was that over? What was that
I'm willing to actually make that bet.
Barber decision minus 120 on DraftKings. Is FanDuel giving you better?
I mean, I like it, but you know, now I'm laying juice, and I'm gonna have Jaron Vallel huffing glue. I'm gonna have Sal D'Amato over there on bath salts. You know, I'm gonna have Adelaide Bird doing God knows what underneath the table over there. You know, God,
jerking
man,
them both off. Why do you think they can't pay attention?
It's sketchy, dude. It's sketchy. So sketchy. I think I'm staying away from this one as a whole. Man.
Why?
But fight goes the decision could be a parlay piece in my opinion.
Yeah. Why is will the fight go the distance only minus 250? It should be
that feels like a parlay piece for me. That feels safe. Parlay fight goes a decision here with whatever your best money line bet is, and maybe get close to even money and just throw that out. But by the way, I love the parlay that you guys did, the Adesanya and the over. What was it? Fight starts round 3 for
fight starts round 4. We just need to 4.
I love that. That feels really safe.
Yes. So here we are, guys. We made it. We made it to the fight.
So you know what?
Yes.
You can get that parlay as is right now at minus probably like 150 or something, 160. But if you add Macy Barber fight to go the distance at minus 250, I could pull it up. You're probably sniffing plus money.
Yeah, definitely.
Give me 1 second and I'll have it. I'm building it. We're building.
Go ahead. Yeah, so if you build out that parlay, the guru's going to go ahead and do that.
I got it right now. It's
what are we hitting?
Plus 123, boys.
Yeah, see, that's not bad.
You got minus 250 on will the fight go the distance, Macy Barber. You got minus 370 now on the Volkanovski fight to start round 4. And you got minus 390 now, when we got it at minus 230, nuts, on KO or decision for Adesanya.
So not that you're wrong about this, but I just know sitting next to the guru this weekend, if that second fight happens and we see some like fluke finish and we cancel out the parlay before we even get to the co-main and main, this guy is going to be sitting there like, I can't even tell you how quick that battle J-Mo is going down.
Shout out to people that really struggle, but like might actually be on suicide watch. Like that would be a real fucking problem. It's just I can't take it anymore.
We've had a rough few weeks.
My poor little confidence.
But yeah, listen, if anyone's going to help your confidence, you just pop over to Jessica Rose Clark's Instagram page and you'll be feeling better in no time. But guess what? We got Julia Stoliarenko, the armbar queen, pulling up alongside. And wouldn't you know it, 1 minute into the fight against Alexis Davis, we're looking at deep armbar attempts for Julia Stoliarenko. And then Jessica Rose Clark against a well-acclaimed judo practitioner is trying to get her own upper body Greco-Roman game going on along the fence. It's like, what the fuck is happening? So, guys, this is the fight we're talking about. Jessica Rose Clark, minus 170. Ding, 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 ding. Alarm bells are going off in my head. Julia Stoliarenko opened as the favorite. I don't know where the fuck that happened. I think Bet Online, something like that. But, like, we're looking at plus 145. We're looking at an armbar, guys, because the winning method, if we look by submission, Julia Stoliarenko plus 400. Guys, that's legitimately the only way that she wins this fight. And decisions plus 330. You can get Julia Stoliarenko by submission at plus 400. I'm done. Take it away. I'm done for the day. There you go. That's Grandpa's armchair. Pull it out. You can get a couple quarters from it.
Stoliarenko by submission. That's what you got.
Yeah, plus 400. Holla at me.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all.
From a line perspective, it like her.
Wait, but didn't she just get armbarred? I don't understand.
Jessica Rose Clark legitimately just lost by armbar in the first round.
Yeah, we lost a lot of money on that.
Julia Stoliarenko legitimately has Alexis Davis, who is like probably just a regular black belt. I don't think second degree, but she's a high level jiu-jitsu black belt. Definitely. And she is deep in 2 separate arm bars in the first minute and a half.
Yeah.
Jessica Rose Clark is not getting out of those. She's tapping within 2 seconds. I guarantee it. And she has shown she is going to go for the takedowns. And if not, Julia Stoliarenko is going to run forward and get into the clinch and then try falling onto her back to pull guard. It's what happens. It's what's going to happen. She's been controlled for almost 50% of her fights, and it's for a reason. Stoliarenko loves being there. So she's going to try. I think she gets it, plus 400.
Damn. Yeah, I'm not interested in betting this fight. Yeah, you look at Jessica Rose Clark, right? She's got all the green on the striking, but like, what the fuck? She likes to wrestle now. So what the, like, I don't know what she's gonna do. Like, again, we picked her stupidly to like wrestle with the wrestler and Egger, and she ended up getting submitted. So it's very, very possible she puts herself in a dumb position here again and gets submitted. So I'm not necessarily interested. This whole night we'll just start be getting kicked off. We'll be barbecuing. We'll be cornholing. We'll be can jamming. We'll be doing a lot of things. So, having units out on this fight is not my top priority. But taking maybe a quarter half unit slide with TB on a greasy submission prop sounds decent to me.
Should we be careful? Because us talking about betting this fight is Weezy currently loading up his oranges to get ready to run at us here? What's going on, Weezy?
So it would be so hypocritical for me to do that because I lost 1.7 units on Jessica Rose Clark last time out. Trying to get her to win against Egger. She was minus 170. I was so confident that Jessica Rose Clark knew that you don't feed your hips to a judo black belt. You don't feed your hips to a judo practitioner who's on the mat with Gabby Garcia having close fights, I did judo back in the day when I was a kid growing up, and I went back to it, when I was like in my late 30s and shit. You don't feed your hips to a judo person. You're going for a ride, dude. Judo practitioners have amazing balance, and they will just mess with your lower half of your body to get you off balance. And then once you go for a ride. You get swept, you get reaped, you get tripped, or you get thrown. And what does Jessica Rose Clark do against a judo practitioner with no striking? She runs into the clinch.
Ran at her.
Ran into the clinch.
Give me a hug.
Give me a hug. And, she gets wizard tripped.
Quick.
I remember thinking to myself, like,
what?
I was doing judo like back in like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, and on the playground, I could throw around anybody, because nobody did judo, So like, I was just king of the grammar school. You came near me, you were going for a ride, So like, when I see somebody that's like Jessica Rose Clark, who's a wrestler now, she used to be a kickboxer. She used to have some power.
That's right.
And, when the Egger fight happened, I was like, she's going to use that kickboxing and she's going to easily win minutes here. And then if she wins minutes and maybe the round's a little bit closer than she could try a takedown with 45 seconds left in the round and stay safe. But she didn't do any of that, man. And now you got a specialist in Stoliarenko who likes being on her back and likes throwing up arm bars. And I don't necessarily know that Jessica Rose Clark learned her lesson from her last fight. She might have just went back to her coaches and been like, yeah, I got caught. No, you didn't get caught, dumbass. You fought a dumb fucking game plan and you lost, when you were supposed to be a favorite. That should have been an easy fight for you. You could have. Judo practitioners don't know how to shoot double legs and single legs. I fucking promise you. They don't even let you attack legs in judo, right? If I shot in for a single leg in a judo tournament as a kid, they'd have kicked me out of there. You can't even do that, you know? So why are you engaging in the wrestling with a judo black belt, an under 23 champion on the European continent? You know, it was just horrible, horrible, horrible fight IQ. And now you're going to lay minus 160 against somebody, you know, in Stolyarenko that's had fights against Kunitskaya, Avila, Alexis Davis. You know, she might be 0-4, but she's fought some really good fighters.
Yeah,
you know, way better than the ladies that Jessica Rose Clark are beating. Sarah Alpar, Jocelyn Edwards.
I forgot who said it in the chat, but it was somebody awesome that said that she's 0-3 in the UFC. Like, she gonna go 0-4? She really gonna get cut? Or does she win this one and make the UFC give her another contract and that whole thing? Mr. D, I haven't recognized you before, but thanks so much for showing up, Mr. D, and cool little Avi you got going there. But yeah, like, I love back against the wall kind of fighters. Like, she's gotten all that shit out of her system. She just lost to the vet and Alexis Davis, couldn't get the sub, got pounded by Julia Avila, who's like a fairly decent prospect.
Hell yeah.
And Yana Kunitskaya, who is, you know, you never really know what you're getting with her. And I would say now probably her career is probably on the back burner, as she's, I believe, had Thiago Santos' second child. So pregnant with him. So, like, I don't know that that's her main thing anymore. But when she was good, she was very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I like TB's greasy submission prop. I like taking a stab on the dog, just money line style. I understand the simp bet. Believe me, I do.
Yeah, she's quite a lady. Yeah, for sure. But like, I just, you know,
just not. The line has been. I'm going to steal from somebody wise. This line has been juiced to the tits. So, like, you know, you can't really bet it here.
And I just want to say, you guys, I saw Jessica Rose Clark at minus 118 earlier in the week, and I was like, you know what? No, because I lost money on her laying minus 170. You know, when she had a very clear path to victory, she didn't take that, and that is a massive red flag. You don't lay juice on women's MMA, period. What you really don't want to do is lay juice on women's MMA when the lady you're laying juice on comes in with shit game plans and doesn't fight to make her comfortable and her opponent uncomfortable. That's a bad recipe.
100%.
I totally agree.
That's so exciting.
Guys, we did it.
We did do it. 2 hours with Uncle Weezy, man. Thanks so much for your time, buddy. Like, you're always so generous with us.
Yeah, absolutely, you guys. This card is so fucking good. I knew I was going to be working extra hard this week. And, you know, I work hard every week, but this week has been special. But this card is special. So it's awesome to come on here and talk with your audience, talk with you guys, chop it up. Because we're all one big community here. We help each other out. I'm happy to do this. And I really like your guys' show. So, you know, to be able to come on here, talk with your audience, talk with you guys for a couple hours about this fantastic card. It's my pleasure.
Really means the world to us, Uncle Weezy, because, you know, you, Brady, you know, Dan, Tom, like all you guys, Clint, like you really guys helped us get us inspired and do. Dan Levy, like, really helped us get inspired and doing all this. So it's so awesome to have you on the Lock of the Night. Like, literally, you guys are such inspirations, all of you, seriously. So it does. It really means so much to
all those guys inspired me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm new to this game,
Brady.
You know? Yeah, Brady. If it weren't for Brady, I wouldn't even be here, man.
Yeah.
You know, Brady's,
God bless, man.
You know, and if you think I work hard, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that dude he's on another level, you know.
He's so sharp too.
I'm really happy to be in business with the guys that I'm in business with, guys like Brady, guys like Lou Betya, like Mark Maddox over at the MMA Engine. You know, we're going to change the game. We're going to be this website that's coming out. It's going to be fantastic. We hope to have all content creators out here in our space using our fight studio because it's going to be superior to Tapology. It's going to be superior to Sherdog. We're going to have all your Uncle Weezy stats embedded in that site.
Let's
so
go.
that you can bring up all the striking stats, all the grappling stats, all the strength to schedule stats. And it's going to be free for content creators to use. So you don't even have to be like your Uncle Weezy putting together all these spreadsheets. They're going to be put together for you on our website, and you can use it for free. So, you know, I appreciate you guys letting me come on your show, promote the MMA Engine, and just, you know, be able to talk with the people who are as passionate about MMA as we are.
Yeah, it really is. It's truly become our passion. It's like a way of life. Like as much as it breaks our heart week in and week out in certain things, it's just we can't look away, and we can't stop. You know, we dig down, we buckle deep, we double down. We double down on ourselves. We double down on the tape, and we, you know, we look to learn from our specific mistakes and stuff like that. And you know, having somebody sharp like you on it always really helps to just to hone the craft and to get better, because we are not professional gamblers. We're just, you know, semi-professional handicappers that are out here like just trying to make it.
We're out here handicapping these fights, and it's fucking hard. It's
hard
to do. Not everybody comes out plus at the end of the year, but
most people
put in the work. You know, you do your research, and you provide a valuable resource to the community that also bets by putting yourselves out there, by creating these shows. You know, we just did this with a webcam and YouTube and StreamYard. You know, I mean, it's amazing how easy it is to do, and it's amazing when you put forth the effort to go out there and reach an audience, how receptive that audience can be, and how many great people you meet along the way, man. It's really inspiring.
It's so true. It's such a family. Like, I really hope one day we can all meet at some UFC card or something. It'd just be so fucking cool.
Hell yeah.
People in the space definitely meet somewhere, but let's let everybody get the fuck out of here before we hold them for too long. Make sure you're following, if you're not somehow already, Uncle Weezy at MMA Weezy. Make sure you're checking out the MMA Engine at MMA Engine. I'm the guru, man. At Guru Scouting MMA. Just hit my 3-year anniversary of being the guru, of creating that Instagram page. That kind of started it all for me. Just wanted a place to follow fighters and somewhere to circle picks, and it just has become all of this now, which is just I could have never seen any of that coming. So you can follow me at Guru Scouting MMA, Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology, and my amazing co-host at TB Scouting MMA, Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. Truly, without him, none of this would be possible at all. It would just be me talking into a microphone. Instead, it's video and spreadsheets and notes and just so much good stuff. So I'm very appreciative of you boys.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody.
And
we will catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, for next week, we got Eric Betts fights coming on, and we'll be doing Dos Anjos versus Fiziev. So
bring it on, baby. And Weezy, as everyone's saying in the chat, we're going to stack them like flapjacks.
Let's get it, baby. Put lots of syrup and butter. Let's just drown them, baby. Enjoy them.
Let's go. Have a very happy and safe 4th of July, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Take care, everybody.